The middle-aged cultivator stroked his beard and informed, "Half a month ago, a great war erupted again at the border demon-suppressing Great Wall. Our righteous path suffered a major setback, but fortunately, the High True Monarch managed to turn the tide, barely stabilizing the situation. However, we are still in dire need of manpower. Now, including our Qingshu sect, the Tianshui 36 immortal sects are all sending people to assist in the battle. The rewards for participating in the battle have more than doubled. This year's Foundation establishment pills will no longer be distributed through internal assessments nor limited by qualifications, but rather determined by one's achievements in the righteous demon war. In simple terms, if you want to establish your foundation, you have to risk your life. Under this strategy, thousands of Qi refinement cultivators have been successfully encouraged to sign up. Next, it's Dragon Elephant City. The middle-aged cultivator continued eloquently. It is considered one of the few gaps at the border, serving the purpose of preventing the ancient demon clan and demon clan armies from infiltrating the core of the Tianshui. The defense of Dragon Elephant City has always been alternately guarded by the sects of Huayang Dao. But due to the escalating border warfare, in recent years Dragon Elephant City is to be jointly defended, with each peak requiring a minimum of 2 Foundation establishment cultivators, and it's mandatory. Oh, junior brother, you're the newcomer from Baihua Valley, aren't you? Baihua Valley has only 3 true inheritors in total. It seems you can't escape. Dragon Elephant City. Chun Sansi recalled hearing about this place from Xue Shenrong and others when he was inside Black Light Mountain. Thank you, senior brother. He expressed his gratitude to the cultivator who provided detailed information, and then proceeded to the steward hall to attend to his own affairs. For a cultivator to form a core, there are 3 major hurdles to face. First, qualification and comprehension. Second, the minor heavenly tribulation. Third, spiritual objects. All 3 are indispensable. Even those with excellent qualifications require the assistance of core formation spiritual objects, and once they fail, they will either face a realm drop at best or life and death cessation at worst. In Skywater Continent, the most commonly used core formation spiritual objects by cultivators are Fire Ganoderma, Moonlight Golden Bellflower, and Creation Jade Dew. These 3 spiritual objects can all be replaced by demon cores or beast pills. Chun Sansi had already obtained a Fire Ganoderma early on in the 9 Nether Forbidden Land, and although the Moonlight Golden Bellflower is rare, its seedlings or half-finished products are not impossible to come by. In other words, for him, the Creation Jade Dew is genuinely difficult to obtain. Creation Jade Dew is possessed by the Qingshu sect itself, but trying to acquire it is undoubtedly not easy. The required merit points alone amount to an astronomical number. Even if Chun Sansi went hunting every day, he would probably still not gather enough merit points to exchange for Creation Jade Dew. After all, golden core cultivators are limited in number throughout the entire Skywater continent. Within the Qingshu sect, forming a golden core allows one to open a peak at any time and become one of the elders. Such precious resources are naturally not available just because one wants them. Therefore, not only are there merit point restrictions, but there's also an entry-level duration requirement, demanding at least a true inheritor with more than 25 years of entry level to be eligible for exchange. Chun Sansi clearly did not meet the requirements. He resigned himself to this fact and chose to exchange his accumulated merit points for other materials. Besides this, he could only head to the border wall to participate in the war. If not forced, he was unwilling to partake in the massive chaos. It's not that Chun Sansi was unwilling to contribute to eliminating demons, but one must act within their means. Of course, if there was absolutely no choice, then he would just have to take some risks. Aside from the internal sect and the border demon-suppressing Great Wall, Dragon Elephant City was relatively low risk. While pondering his future arrangements, Chun Sansi retraced his steps back. As he reached halfway down the mountain, disturbances suddenly erupted from all corners of the sect. They saw a large number of figures appear above Qingshu sect's sky, where flying at will was usually prohibited, sweeping over people's heads on the light of escape. Even the lowest among them was surprisingly at the Golden Core realm. With all the elders currently at Taiwan Peak, Where did so many people come from? External visitors. Jia Si of Heavenly Inspection Sect has come to witness the ceremony. Ing Lan Yue of Divine Intent Sect has come. Shenong Mountain. Immortal Mist Sect. Bi Xiao Palace. A total of 9 great cultivators headed straight towards Taiyuan Peak. Nascent soul upper sects have come to witness the ceremony. Whenever a cultivator achieves a breakthrough, it has become an unwritten rule for sects of the same level to send someone to observe the ceremony. One reason is to give gifts and maintain superficial relations. The two were the most crucial. They came to gather information. In the cultivation world, resources are limited. Having one more sect of the same level means more resources would be divided. It's even common for sects to fight and seize spirit veins from each other, so naturally, they need to know themselves and their enemies. With so many outsider cultivators intruding, yet no one could stop them. Everyone could only watch as they flew towards Taoyuan Peak. Brother Lu. A hurried voice shifted Chun Sansi's attention. He turned to look and saw a young Taoist rushing over in a fluster. 16th. Chun Sansi asked, "What's going on? Why so urgent?" There's an elder from another sect who wants to see you." Outsider elder? Yes. The young Taoist reminded. The mask Elder Yuling gave you, you must wear it. Mask. Chun Sansi nodded. How do you know that? His master had put the mask in the storage bag when sending it, so how did the other side know? I. The young Taoist stammered a little, explaining. Elder Yuling said it. Anyway, don't worry about it. Before you go down the mountain, make sure to wear the mask. With the mask on, no one will recognize you. Who wants to see me? Chun Sansi looked at him, squinting slightly. Heavenly Sword Sect, Chao Xie? Probably. The young Taoist said, if you don't want to meet, you can leave via the back mountain now. I can show you the way. No need. Chun Sansi replied calmly. Take me to see them, his master had mentioned. Even before, Chao Xie had come to inquire for information. Since she dared to let him stay, it indicated she was confident he would not be exposed. On the contrary, if Chun Sansi were to run away directly, it would be like confessing without a fight. Moreover, being this close, if a nascent soul chased, could he really escape? And for some reason, even knowing the danger, he didn't feel afraid at all. Instead, he wanted to meet that person, the grand ancestor of the previous dynasty. All right, don't worry. This is the territory of the Qingshu sect. Nothing will happen. The young Taoist led the way. After leaving Flying Peak, they walked on foot all the way to the vicinity of the fence courtyard where Lord Taishan resided. In the courtyard, under the old pagoda tree, a figure in a green robe stood facing an old, rusty sword, opposite a female cultivator in a plain immortal dress. It was unclear what the two were saying, but even from a distance, Chun Sansi felt a sharp gaze like a sword piercing towards him. The divine sense of the nascent soul swept over, yet he showed no fear. Despite his physical discomfort, he merely felt disgusted and offended, returning the gaze with eyes as bright as torches. The green-robed cultivator seemed startled for a moment, then withdrew his gaze. Elder Yuling. The young Taoist opened the fence and led the white-robed person into the courtyard. I have brought the person. Elder Chao. Master Yuling, holding a horsetail whisk, said indifferently. This is the disciple I recently accepted, named Lu Shangji, a descendant of an old acquaintance at Xian Island Lake. His background is clear, and you can verify at any time. He has no relation to that Chun Sansi. Taoist Yuling, there's no need for much explanation. Chao Xie expressionlessly replied leisurely, whether true or false, I'll know upon investigation. He slowly raised his hand, and waves of mana flowed out. Chao Xie, don't be too overbearing. Master Yuling protected the disciple in front, sternly rebuking. For the sake of the Holy Sect's bounty order, I've cooperated with your investigation as much as possible. But ultimately, Shangji is my disciple, a disciple of Qingshu sect. What right do you have to use the soul-searching technique on him? Chao Xie did not speak, but his eyes grew cold, ready to cast a spell to drive away the golden core female cultivator in front of him. Nascent soul and golden core, worlds apart. Just as they were about to clash, Master Yu Ling had already planned to use all her cards to survive one strike. It was at this moment that a majestic anger surged forth. "Stable boy, do not harm my master." When the sound reached the ears, the sword's edge had already come before him. Divine skills. Chao Xie glanced sideways. In the depth of his tranquil eyes, it was as if a boulder fell, stirring up waves of tumult. Divine skills? This person's martial arts have reached a transcendent level, having already moved beyond the realm of ordinary martial arts. Otherwise, how could he easily approach him? However, the difference in realm is too vast. Are you really not afraid of death? Chao Xie raised his gaze, noticing that the other party showed no intention of retreat despite sensing his mana pressure. His killing intent erupted, ready to strike. Between heaven and earth, a sudden clear wind blew, dispersing the true power on Chen Sanxi's sword edge and also sweeping away the mana in Chao Xie's palm. His expression turned cautious, with a subtle movement of his silk shoes, revealing array patterns. Meanwhile, pure and pristine auspicious clouds gathered above everyone's heads, full of energy emanating from the rolling clouds and mist. Why not visit Taiyuan Peak? Why trouble a junior here? Heavenly killing true monarch graces our humble abode. A vibrant cloud descended from the sky. Within the mist, a middle-aged man riding a green ox gracefully landed. It was none other than the supreme elder of Qingshu sect, Zhang Huiqing. So it is you, Huiqing. The array patterns beneath Chao Xie's feet gradually dispersed like ripples, and with one hand behind his back, he smiled. Congratulations on breaking through the nascent soul barrier. My apologies for the delay in attending the observance. Late. Zhang Huiqing laughed. I see Elder Chao arrived quite early. No misunderstanding, Huiqing. Chao Xie said frankly. Today, I came to your sect originally for a routine soul search concerning Lord Taishan. I heard along the way that Baihua Valley's Yu Ling took in a disciple of unclear origin. Thus arose the thought to investigate thoroughly. After all, Chun Lei from the eastern continent involves the ancestor vein and imperial jade seal. It's of paramount importance, and there's no room for negligence.
Let me assure you.
Zhang Huiqing spoke with certainty. This person isn't the Chun Lei you're looking for. I wonder if my words are trustworthy to Elder Chao. Naturally. Chao Xie once again glanced over the Baihua Valley disciples. A sect's supreme elder surely wouldn't speak falsely. I apologize to the young brother. Chen Sanxi remained indifferent, slowly retracting the flying sword smeared with immortal treasure. A storm did not erupt, halted due to the appearance of Qingshu sect's supreme elder. Shengji, Master Yu Ling asked softly, are you all right? Chen Sanxi gently shook his head. Let's go. Master Yu Ling snorted coldly, preparing to leave with the disciple. Just at this moment, under the moonlit night, a staggering figure stumbled towards the courtyard. Who the hell is in my house? Mu Chutai swore as he approached, but upon seeing the scene in the courtyard, he almost stumbled to the ground, hastily turning to flee. Where are you going, Mu? Beneath Chao Xie's feet, a formation expanded centered on him, instantly covering several miles. With a wave of his hand, the heaven and earth shifted. Mu Chutai, hundreds of meters away, appeared in the courtyard the next moment. Lord Taishan, running, fell flat on his face, then staggered to his feet, realizing escape was futile. Oh dear, isn't this Brother Chao? He forced a flattering smile. Your esteemed visit. What brings you here? Lord Taishan, surely you need not feign ignorance? Chao Xie motioned for him to sit, speaking unhurriedly. How are things? After these years, have you recalled anything? Brother Mu, Elder Chao, heavenly killing true monarch, my dear brother, Lord Taishan flatteringly said. I've said everything decades ago. I truly don't know the whereabouts of it. You've questioned me countless times. Surely you could confirm I'm telling the truth? Chao Xie interrupted. Since that's the case, let's proceed with the routine check then. Damn it, up yours. Lord Taishan, realizing pleading was useless, grabbed a handful of yellow soil from the ground, viciously throwing it at the other's face before turning to flee. Unfortunately, it was futile. Chao Xie raised his hand, capturing him to the front, then firmly pressed his right hand against the heavenly spirit, channeling the secret technique into his mind. Ah! As the soul-searching secret technique took effect, Mu Chutai's eyes widened. Veins bulged on his forehead, emitting ear-piercing screams of agony. Chen Sansi frowned slightly. The soul-searching technique is considered one of the most brutal secret techniques in the cultivation world, causing significant harm to the divine soul of the inflicted, the pain unbearable. The most crucial aspect is, soul-searching allows the person to probe all your memories, life, aging, illness, death, family and friends, all buried deep within the soul's memories become accessible. Thus, the soul-searching technique is deemed a trampling of dignity by cultivators. As earlier, even considering performing the soul search on Lu Shengji, a junior, implied disrespect to Qingshu sect. Ah! Thunderous screams echoed across the mountains and fields. Neither Supreme Elder Zhang Huiqing nor Baihua Valley's Master Yuling spoke up against the soul search, merely watching silently. Ah! Lord Taishan cursed tremblingly. Damn it! I curse your ancestors. What are you really? Someday I will kill. Ah! The intensity of the soul-searching technique increased once more. After a prolonged period, Mu Chutai finally couldn't endure further, his curses turning into desperate pleas. Elder Chao, heavenly killing true monarch, forgive me. Please spare me. I truly don't know anything. I've given everything I could give. I am now a permanently foundation establishment failure. I beg you to spare me. I just want to eke out an existence. Eke out an existence. Slowly, Lord Taishan was almost crying as he pleaded. Please, have mercy. Spare me. In the end, he completely gave up resisting and lay beside the boots of the Lord of Myriad Laws like a dead dog, allowing himself to be trampled. It was a long time before the soul search concluded. Brother Mu, forgive me. Chao Xie tossed an elixir pill, with no real sense of apology. If you remember anything, please let me know promptly, so you won't have to endure such torment day and night. Lord Taishan lay sprawled on the muddy ground, his muddled and empty eyes staring blankly at the rusted sword embedded in the earth, silent. Chao Xie looked down at him with a hint of sorrow in his eyes. At this moment, the supreme elder of the Qingshu sect spoke again. Elder Chao, since matters here are resolved, why not come to my estate for a chat? Chao Xie said indifferently. I had just such an intention. The two nascent soul cultivators disappeared without a trace. The courtyard became quiet. Senior Mu. Despite everything, he had learned skills from him, and even if there was no deep bond, there was some ordinary kinship. Chen Sansi no longer just watched. He stepped forward to help him up, offering an elixir that restored the divine soul. Are you all right? Based on the earlier conversation, he understood that Lord Taishan seemed to be hiding something, which was why he had suffered such torment. I'm fine. Pale-faced, Lord Taishan leaned against the old locust tree, looking towards the spot where Chao Xie had disappeared, and weakly cursed. That bastard. I should have killed him with a sword back then. Halfway through his words, he impatiently shouted, Get lost! Get lost! What are you all still doing here? Get out! Chen Sansi got up to take his leave. As he passed by the young Taoist, he gently patted his shoulder. 16, what's wrong? Just now, after the arrival of the Supreme Elder, the young Taoist stood still like a wooden figure, unclear whether he was frightened or affected by a spell. I'm fine. The young Taoist shook his head. I have unfinished work. I have to go first. Master Yuling and Chen Sansi also left the courtyard one after another. Just now. Master Yuling looked at the disciple of her deceased husband, suddenly asking, Were you standing up for your master's wife? Aren't you afraid? Afraid? You mean because I stood up to Chao Xie? Chun Sansi replied without hesitation. What's the use of being afraid? In the situation earlier, would being afraid make the opponent spare me? Instead of waiting to die in fear, it's better to fight bravely. Dying standing is better than dying kneeling. And at the time, Chun Sansi didn't think much about it. He only knew that someone had gone against his master's widow, and as the heir, he shouldn't hide behind her like a coward. Sometimes one must act with careful consideration, but other things leave no time for such concerns. Having witnessed today, it was like having faced Chao Xie. Nascent soul, the gap in realm was indeed considerable. But Chun Sansi truly wasn't afraid. After all, the other party was only born a few hundred years earlier. However, within him rose an urgent feeling as if an invisible hand was urging him to cultivate and enhance his power. I wonder if that Chao truly didn't see through me. Master Yu Ling seemed to have read his mind, saying, "The mask you wear was given to you by the Supreme Elder. He cannot easily see through it. But whether he will become suspicious in the future is hard to say." The Supreme Elder? Combining the previous situation, Chun Sansi speculated. The Supreme Elder of the Qingshu sect clearly knew his true identity and had been deliberately protecting him. There's no need to overthink it. My junior disciple also wants to make a deal with you. He simply wants to use your Emperor's breath soil. Master Yu Ling said, "Among the spirit plants I asked you to plant earlier, there was one that he wanted." Chun Sansi nodded, feeling somewhat at ease. Otherwise, taking the huge risk to shelter him couldn't possibly be based solely on the face of his master's wife. In a few more years, you'll be preparing for core formation, won't you? Master Yu Ling raised her slender hand. A pink lotus petal and a golden spirit flower resembling a wind chime appeared in her palm. She calmly said, "This pink lotus is called the Mysterious Transformation Blessing Lotus, which can help you resist the minor heavenly tribulation. This golden one is the Moonlight Golden Bell Flower of over 800 years. Though it lacks years, you can mature it yourself. I remember you mentioned before that among the core formation spiritual objects, you already have the fire Ganoderma. So now you only lack the creation jade dew. There is creation jade dew in the sect, but it's recently been allocated, so you're not qualified to receive it. Fortunately, creation jade dew can be replaced with a demon core or a beast pill. For these 2 years, you should stay calmly in the valley. I will find an opportunity to help you kill a third realm demon beast." She thoroughly arranged everything that needed to be done next. It was basically saying that all you need to do is sit still, and you will smoothly achieve the golden core realm. Since Chun Sansi started his cultivation journey, only his master had taken such care of him before. "Disciple thanks master." He accepted the items and then said, "But master, there's no need to trouble you regarding the demon core." Disciple heard that recently, each peak in the sect is to send 2 foundation establishment cultivators to Dragon Elephant City, where the rewards include creation jade dew. I recall that the bounty in Dragon Elephant City indeed includes this item. Master Yu Ling said, "But after all, it's the border. And with recent turmoil, no one can predict what might happen. Are you sure you want to go yourself?" "I'm sure," Chun Sansi said firmly. "In Master's eyes, I'm still a junior, but in the mortal world, I'm already a middle-aged man past 40. At this age, if I rely on others for everything, then there's no point in cultivating to become an immortal. If Master could acquire the creation jade dew, he would gratefully accept it, as no one wants to risk the dangers of the border. But as for Master saying she would help hunt a demon beast, it's better to forget it. Master Yu Ling herself is only at the Golden Core realm, and hunting a demon beast of the same realm undoubtedly risks her life. If something were to happen while helping him obtain a demon core, Chun Sansi would be too ashamed that a heart demon might arise. All right. Master Yu Ling did not insist. It's also good for you to go. Your senior sister is inconvenient for long journeys recently. With you accompanying your second junior sister, I can be more at ease. Rest assured, Master, Chun Sansi said. Then I'll go back to prepare, and immediately set off as soon as the sect summons. Finished speaking, he took his leave. There was still much preparation to do before heading to Dragon Elephant City. Master! After the white robe left, a fairy approached elegantly, coughing lightly from weakness. Didn't we agree that I would accompany junior sister? Since your junior brother decided to go, let him. You're still injured, so it's actually safer if he goes instead of you. Master Yuling watched Chun Sansi's departing figure, recalling how he unhesitatingly drew his sword to stand in front of her, murmured, "This child is reliable. No wonder the one surnamed Sun passed his mantle to him." On Taiyuan Peak, Chao Xie left the cave mansion of the Supreme Elder of Qingshu sect and transformed into a light of escape flying through the sky. After about 200 miles, he stopped at a mountaintop. Here awaited a man and a woman, both nascent soul cultivators. "Junior brother is back." The leading male cultivator spoke. "How's Zhang Huiqing's situation?" "Faster than expected." Chao Xie slowly landed. He directly broke through the mid-stage nascent soul. "What?" the male cultivator said in astonishment. "Directly to mid-stage nascent soul?" The female cultivator, on the other hand, was more calm. It was long heard that Zhang Huiqing fused part of the heavenly clouds of celebration into his body at birth, destined to prosper Qingshu sect's Taoist inheritance as an immortal seedling. That's why their former supreme elder insisted on letting him succeed, despite opposition. Now it seems the rumor is true. "Junior brother," the middle-aged cultivator asked. "In that case, what should we do? After all, the feud between our sect and the Qingshu sect. Mid-stage nascent soul, neither high nor low." Chao Xie looked toward the direction of Taiyuan Peak, narrowing his eyes slightly. But he absolutely cannot be allowed to continue rising. In the last 100 years, someone in the Sky-Water continent summarized, based on the most hopeful names to ascend to the upper realm, and compiled the top 10 geniuses of Sky-Water. The top of the list used to be Lord Taishan, who later fell. And Zhang Huiqing always remained steadily in 10th place, but suddenly advanced by leaps and bounds overnight, beyond everyone's imagination. "Soon, I am going to the border wall." Chao Xie paused, then continued, "Zhang Huiqing will not escape either." "Is junior brother suggesting," the female cultivator said, "to act against him at the border? I'm afraid that's inappropriate. According to the rules set by the upper realm, our Three Heavens sect cannot directly interfere with other sects, especially not without reason, using realm suppression to attack younger geniuses, as this would affect the human race's fate. We don't need to." Chao Xie clasped one hand behind him, saying softly, "Now that Zhang Huiqing has entered nascent soul, he should be more worried about other sects of the same level than us." "Junior brother is planning to," the middle-aged cultivator said. "Use a borrowed knife to kill?" Chao Xie did not deny it. "It's a good idea." The middle-aged cultivator nodded. "I'll take care of it then." He transformed into a light of escape and flew away. Atop the mountain, only Chao Xie and the female cultivator were left. Rong Rojuan spoke. "That new disciple in Baihua Valley, has junior brother confirmed their identity? From just a divine sense probe, he seems not to be the one I'm looking for." Chao Xie added, "But I can't rule out the possibility that Yuling used some method to shield my probing skill. I think the likelihood of that is small." Rong Rojuan analyzed. "The Qingshu sect has just produced a nascent soul, and they will face numerous troubles going forward. They can't possibly take in Chen Lei, a hot potato, at such a crucial moment. Moreover, Yuling is merely an ordinary elder. There's no way she would have the audacity to endanger the entire sect." "Senior sister speaks reasonably," Chao Xie said in a deep voice. "However, I actually hope they do take that young one in. It would save us a lot of trouble." "Indeed," Rong Rojuan sighed. "That way, it would not only eliminate junior brother's great threat, but also provide a reason to act against Zhang Huiqing." "Senior sister Rong, that young one is not my grave threat," Chao Xie corrected. "I just find him an eyesore and wish to give an account to my brothers from the past." "The past?" Rong Rojuan hesitated for a moment. "It seems junior brother's ambition is even greater than I imagined. Do you really want to do this?" Now that Zhao family of dashing has exposed its weaknesses, it's a good opportunity to bring them down. Chao Xie did not delve deeply into this topic, simply saying, "But rest assured, senior sister, even if I Chao Xie establish my own path, I will certainly not forget the training and cultivation from the sect over the years. Junior brother, why go through all this trouble?" Rong Rojuan advised. "With your qualifications, as long as you stay within the sect, the Supreme Elder will surely train you with full dedication. But if you truly wish to forge your own path, I'm afraid the hardships and obstacles will greatly affect your Dao. Ultimately, junior brother still cannot let go of experiences in the mortal world from centuries ago, wanting to repeat them even at the expense of affecting a path meant to be smooth and bright." "Ah, senior sister." Chao Xie sighed lightly. "I want to ask you a question. Do you say, we cultivators practice for what purpose?" Rong Rojuan answered without hesitation. "Naturally, it's to live as long as the heavens and earth and to shine alongside the sun and moon." "And after that?" Chao Xie questioned further, and senior sister was clearly taken aback. After a moment of silence, he continued, "I've been pondering lately, even if I attain immortality, so what? Nothing but a millennium of solitude and eons of loneliness. If so, no matter how long one lives, what meaning does it hold? I really like a saying from the mortal world. Each has their own ambition. Everyone is different at birth, yet somehow, why do all those originally diverse people find their goals becoming uniformly fixated on so-called immortality after stepping onto the path of cultivation? These over 200 years, I've not been happy. If it weren't for carrying with me the Chilan Pavilion scroll and meeting my descendants in the Eastern continent, I might truly have forgotten who I am. Zen Buddhism says, seeing the heart clarifies the nature is enlightenment. So now, doing what I wish, isn't that also a form of seeking Tao?" Rong Rojuan realized she could no longer persuade him, so she said nothing more, only turning to ask, "And what about me?" Chao Xie's gaze remained unwavering, growing more determined as he said, word by word, "Just wait for me." Rong Rojuan uttered a single word, "Okay," as she stood atop the mountain, watching the green-robed figure depart. Seeing the heart clarifies the nature. Recalling their recent conversation, she knew full well what this junior brother, who had been with her every day for over 200 years, always sought. Power. Chao Xie is pursuing power. He's accustomed to being an emperor, accustomed to the feeling of supreme authority. This feeling is something no amount of realm can impart. Thus, Chao Xie must tread the path once more. He wants to destroy dashing and rebuild dashing. Moreover, a dashing of the immortal dynasty, an emperor in the immortal realm. At the same time, this is also Chao Xie's tribulation. From Golden Core onwards, each major threshold is a tribulation. During the nascent soul to divinity transformation stages, the emphasis is on testing one's mindset, which cultivators call the heart tribulation. Unknowingly, Chao Xie has already begun his tribulation. Baihua Valley. For over 10 days in a row, Chun Sansi had locked himself in the cave mansion, preparing a large number of talismans and elixir pills. Skill, Alchemy, 2nd tier. Progress, 686/1000. Each skill was steadily improving. After finishing his tasks, Chun Sansi once again took out the compass left by his senior brother. After activating it, he stared at the golden patterns on it, attempting to decipher them. Understanding how to use the compass was crucial to finding the exact location of the extreme north, thereby resolving a series of issues related to the ancestor vein and the ceiling. Unfortunately, the formations within the compass were indeed mysterious. Whenever Chun Sansi tried to probe it with his divine sense, just as he barely grasped the surface patterns, he would suffer a splitting headache, forcing him to stop the deciphering. Skill, Formation, 2nd tier. Progress, 256/1000. There was still an urgent need to quickly improve his proficiency in formations. Chun Sansi exhaled deeply, storing all the prepared items into his storage ring. At that moment, the blue bird came running to deliver a message to the residents. Chen Sansi understood at once and set off down the mountain. As he passed by the fenced yard where Lord Taishan resided, he heard pitiful wails coming from inside again. It was said that in the past 2 days, people from the Heavenly Water Saint sect took turns conducting soul searches on him. If this continued, he would either die or fall into madness. Chen Sansi indeed felt some sympathy, and he also worried about what might happen to Lord Taishan, pondering who he could ask for cultivation techniques later. But he was truly powerless, so he could only skirt around the yard. After leaving the Qingshu sect, Chen Sansi arrived at a tavern in a nearby mortal village or town. This tavern was opened by a cultivator from Great Han's Sky Wall City. Places like these were numerous throughout the Sky-Water continent, mostly run by members of the Genie Guard, with the purpose of facilitating communication and gathering information from various quarters. In the private room, Deng Wuchang and Dongfang Jingxing cupped their fists in greeting. "Your Majesty." Deng Wuchang handed over a storage bag. "Inside this are the formations I acquired, a total of 24 sets of second-tier formations." "So many." Chen Sansi was slightly surprised. Were they all purchased? Acquiring these formations would greatly speed up his mastery of formation skills, thus enabling him to decipher the compass sooner. Only a few useless formations were bought. The rest were obtained freely without spending a single coin. Deng Wuchang explained, "Your Majesty must also know that useful formations are very difficult to acquire. I was quite troubled at the time, but ended up clashing with an independent array master on the road and directly took him down." After he finished reporting, Dongfang Jingxing took over the conversation. "The materials Your Majesty instructed me to procure have mostly been acquired, except for one core material called Xuanling Jeweled Crystal. Xuanling Jeweled Crystal is an essential core material for crafting seal-type magic artifacts. Though this item is expensive in the Sky-Water continent, it's not unattainable. It's just that Great Han's demand is exceedingly high. 10,000 official seals. That's 10,000 pieces of Xuanling Jeweled Crystal." Dongfang Jingxing and his people nearly bought out all the Xuanling Jeweled Crystal from Huayangdao and surrounding areas, but only gathered a bit over 1,000 pieces. To obtain more, the best method is to venture to the eastern part of the Sky-Water continent, to the territories of several sects rich in various spirit ores. But the journey is long, passing through several dangerous areas, taking several years in total, and there's a high chance those dispatched may not return. Unless Chen Sansi goes personally, which he simply doesn't have the time for. However, near Dragon Elephant City there used to be spirit ore, so it's possible to obtain some there. It seems this trip is a must. You too, continue collecting formations and materials. Chen Sansi instructed, "If you run out of spirit stones, go find Cheng Wei to request funds from the National Treasury." His second senior brother, Cheng Wei, has been the Minister of Revenue since the establishment of Great Han, primarily responsible for finances. Since the founding of Skywall City, all the cultivation resources have been assigned to him for distribution, so the Ministry of Revenue holds a significant position in the court. The second senior brother excels in strategy when it comes to warfare, preferring to clarify everything with an abacus before making a decision. He is also adept at managing the treasury. In recent years, not only has the second senior brother allocated funds, but he has also been earning spirit stones for the treasury. After the Beiyang campaign, the court seized a significant number of jade tokens for ancient transmission arrays through various prominent families. Moreover, in other parts of Beiyang, a more hidden ancient transmission array was discovered. Although these 2 transmission arrays are still insufficient for transporting large armies, dispatching some cultivators has become extremely convenient. Second senior brother Cheng Wei always takes surplus materials and elixir pills from the court and sells them in various places across the Sky-Water continent. After some development, he has also established a few shops in several small workshops. After handling affairs, Chen Sansi returned to Qingshu sect. The sect has issued a notice. In 5 days, they will depart for Longxiang City on the Sishue Road. The Baihua Valley team consists of Chen Sansi and Jiang Xie. It is worth mentioning that, during his time at Qingshu sect, he has yet to meet this second senior sister. With the journey approaching, he wonders if she'll make it back in time. This trip to Longxiang City could take 3 to 5 years, and if there's major upheaval, possibly even longer. Fortunately, Longxiang City has spirit veins, so cultivation won't be hindered. Once he obtains the creation jade dew, his realm can reach late-stage foundation establishment, which is the perfect time to begin foundation establishment. Before leaving, I should try to absorb the red lotus karma fire. Chen Sansi made up his mind. After all, the journey holds considerable risk, and having another defensive measure would provide some reassurance. He made his way to the pond with practiced ease. More than 200 steps away, he gradually sensed that something was amiss. The area surrounding the pond was still shrouded in a white mist, but the temperature had dramatically changed. The mist, once akin to scalding flames, was now bone-chilling like frost. Even the original vapor had nearly solidified into clusters of ice crystals, blooming like ice snow lotuses in the void. Someone, through Qi observation skill, Chen Sansi saw a living person lying on the ground amid the frost. He drew a standard-issue flying sword from Qingshu sect to brush aside the ice flowers and cautiously proceeded inside. Upon reaching the depths, he saw a black-clad woman covered in frost lying by the pond's edge. The woman's alabaster face was cloaked in a layer of ice. A black silk ribbon beneath her forehead was similarly encrusted with ice crystals. The blind woman, or rather his second senior sister. However, at this moment, Jiang Xie was a far cry from her usual imposing and stern presence. Her ice soul sword was stuck in the earth at a slant. Her body curled on the ground, trembling slightly, with a pained expression on her face. Miss Jiang. Chen Sansi attempted to rouse her, but to no avail. Judging by her appearance, she seemed to be seriously injured. Moreover, Qi observation skill revealed that deep within the blind woman, a strand of crimson-black spiritual light flickered intermittently, each reemergence more brilliant than before. Though Chen Sansi had some knowledge of medical skills from concocting elixirs, he couldn't determine the severity of the blind woman's injuries and was at a loss over what to do. "Junior brother, let me handle this." A gentle female voice sounded overhead, as senior sister Jiang Qiangsu descended from the sky, with a familiar jade pendant floating before her. Left behind by their master? During his visit to recognize family ties with his master's wife, Chen Sansi had handed over the jade pendant but never retrieved it. Jiang Qiangsu formed a lotus-like hand seal, causing the jade pendant before her to emit a faint spiritual light. Simultaneously, as if responding to a call, the jade pendant in the blind woman's bosom rose effortlessly, similarly emanating spiritual light. The two jade pendants resonated, then each displayed an 8 diagrams array seal, forming a connection. Jiang Qiangsu gently parted her lips, exhaling flames. The blaze, transformed into star-like spiritual glimmers by the array seal, descended onto the unconscious blind woman, slowly melting the frost enshrouding her. Subsequently, Jiang Qiangsu raised her sleeve and employed the sword control technique to lift Jiang Xie into the air above the pond, then slowly unlocked the blind woman's waist sash. The pebbles around the pond lit up with complex runes, one after another. She turned back, whispering, "I ask that junior brother please step aside." Chen Sansi finally realized and put away the upper purity sword before leaving the side of the pool. Just now, was senior sister Jiang using the jade pendant to heal second senior sister? And the formation by the poolside also seemed to be for healing. A regularly prepared healing formation. Does second senior sister often get injured? Junior brother. Through the frosty mist, Jiang Qiangsu's voice sounded again. "If I remember correctly, you cultivate fire techniques? Come back, please." Chen Sansi returned to the poolside, and as he passed through the frosty mist, he saw the blind woman already immersed in the pool water. Originally, the continually boiling pool water had unknownly completely cooled, like the arrival of dead winter, with the surface frozen 3 feet thick. The blind woman was frozen in the middle of the ice layer, her fair, slender neck covered in a thin layer of frost, like an ice sculpture. Chen Sansi asked, "What do you need me to do, senior sister?" Jiang Qiangsu's face was noticeably paler than before. She stopped her actions and tossed the jade pendant into his hand, instructing, "I'll teach you the mantra to activate the fire techniques within you to heal Shiyu." "All right." Chun Sansi did as instructed. He activated the burning sky fire, sending it through the jade pendant's 8 diagrams array seal into the center of the pool, transforming into sparkles of spiritual light that landed on the surface of the blind woman's body. At the same time, the surrounding formation began operating again, resonating with the red lotus karma fire at the bottom of the pool. Under this dual enhancement, the ice sculpture at the pool's core began to melt at a visibly noticeable speed. Burning sky fire? Jiang Qiangsu recognized the flames and inquired, "I heard from the master that you are someone who practices immortal and martial dual cultivation. This burning sky fire is the fire of martial arts' true power, so you should be proficient in another type of flame as well?" "More than one." Chun Sansi formed seals with his hands, and the flames he conjured subsequently transformed into 10,000 beasts fierce, followed by Een Soul netherworld fire. He quickly discovered that alternating between these flames seemed to hasten the melting of the frost. Within the ice sculpture, the crimson-red light within the unconscious blind woman also grew dimmer under the flame's suppression. Seeing this, a look of joy appeared on Jiang Qiangsu's weary face. The entire healing process lasted the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. Only after Chun Sansi had expended most of his mana did all the ice and snow completely melt, and the surroundings of the pool returned to their usual state. And the blind woman remained peacefully and silently soaking in the water. "That's enough." Jiang Qiangsu halted him and led him away from the poolside. "Thank you, junior brother, for stepping in just in time to stabilize Shiyu's condition." "Second senior sister?" Chun Sansi asked. "Why did this happen?" "Your second senior sister was born with a mysterious illness that requires suppression with fire techniques administered through the jade pendant when it flares up." Jiang Qiangsu looked at the jade pendant and explained, "This jade pendant is originally a pair, capable of resonantly supporting each other to help suppress the illness. Before you arrived, I had also crafted a replacement piece." She said this while taking out a cracked, dim counterfeit piece. "At birth, it's there." Chun Sansi had heard before that some people are born with things due to the unique conditions of the environment they are in, be it beneficial or harmful. This matter could affect the inner sex assessment of a disciple's qualification, thereby influencing resources. Jiang Qiangsu reminded, "Therefore, please keep this between us." "I understand, senior sister." Chun Sansi pondered. Could it be that the talk by Xue Shenrong and others about falling into the demon path is actually referring to this illness? Taking this opportunity, he relayed his knowledge firsthand. After Jiang Qiangsu heard him out, she did not seem surprised or angry, merely remarking, "Thank you, junior brother, for the warning. I am aware of this, and I will report to the master later to discuss how to handle it. Tomorrow morning, you are to leave with the inner sect disciples on the flying boat bound for Dragon Elephant City. Having expended so much today, you should rest early." With that reminder, Chun Sansi felt a weight lift from a matter on his mind. He returned to the cave mansion, unprecedentedly did not cultivate but lay down on the stone bed for a rest. The next morning at the hour of Mao, all disciples received the summons and gathered on the path to the flying peak early. Qingshu sect has a total of 49 peaks, of which 8 belong to inner sect disciples, and only the inner sect venues have a golden core elder seated. At the request of the Yingxing sect, every one of the 8 inner peaks was to send 2 foundation establishment cultivators, making a total of 16 foundation establishment cultivators. In addition, there were to be 3,000 early-stage Qi refinement cultivators, 2,000 in the middle stage, and another 1,000 late stage, making over 6,000 cultivators altogether. With so many cultivators gathered together, it was indeed a grand scale. Once everyone arrived, the current sect leader of Qingshu sect, who was also the Supreme Elder's martial uncle, Taoist Xuanqing, came to deliver his address. Taoist Xuanqing's appearance was that of a white-haired, white-bearded elder, yet with a childlike face and rosy complexion, seated atop a jade lion. He appeared very much like a sage. As for the content of his speech, it was none other than the cliché phrases like exorcising demons, upholding justice. Finally, the leader of this group of cultivators was Elder Shui Jingfeng from Flowing Cloud Peak. The entire preparation process was not particularly lengthy. By around noon, the first batch of cultivators began to set off. One after another, giant flying boats rose steadily over Qingshu sect, then flew westward. Meanwhile, there was a faster medium-sized flying boat specifically for Foundation Establishment cultivators. As for Elder Shui Jingfeng, he transformed into a streak of light of escape and departed ahead of time. These 16 Foundation Establishment cultivators, including those from Baihua Valley where Chun Sansi belonged, totaled 12 men and 4 women, with varied ages and different statuses and positions. A task like going to the border, which is very likely to encounter life-threatening danger, has some protective elders on the peaks who are reluctant to let their true disciples go, so they prefer to send disciples at the end of their Tao path, who have no hope of breaking through further, instead. Of course, there are also elders who believe that disciples should not be overly protected and that they must experience trials to grow. These two kinds of people each make up half of the team. In the final preparation stage, Chun Sansi did not see the people from Baihua Valley. It wasn't until the cultivator responsible for piloting the flying boat urged them that he saw the figures of the 2 senior sisters. The blind woman had already regained her usual grace, wearing ink-black clothes, her lotus petal-like face covered as if with frost, exuding a chilling aura in her every move. She did not greet anyone and controlled her sword to board the flying boat directly. Chun Sansi asked, "Is it still second senior sister going with me?" According to his idea, since they knew someone intended harm for second senior sister, the best way was to send someone else. He hadn't even asked but roughly guessed the reason. Jiang Qiangsu looked extremely unwell, her energy fluctuating erratically. Going to the border in this state was like sending herself to death. Originally, I intended to replace Shiyu, but I really couldn't argue with her, and our master also disagreed, she said helplessly. But fortunately, junior brother knew in advance, and we can prepare accordingly. In any case, be extremely cautious on this journey. Regardless of what happens, prioritize your own safety. If Shiyu's illness relapses, I'll have to trouble junior brother to use the jade pendant to heal her, just as you did last night. Rest assured, senior sister, I know what to do. Chun Sansi bid her farewell. Soon, all 16 Foundation Establishment cultivators gathered together. The pilot inserted spirit stones into the helm and performed an incantation. The dragon-shaped flying boat began to ascend slowly under the lift of spiritual energy. Hold on, hold on. Just as they were about to depart, a rough voice echoed in everyone's ears, and a figure in the distance wobbled towards them. Mu Chu Tai, the Qingshu sect leader, Taoist Xian Chang, recognized him and said irritably, "What are you doing here?" "Brother Xian Chang." Lord Taishan grinned widely and said, "I've come to discuss something with you." "No time." Taoist Xian Chang exuded a strong dislike for the person and instinctively wanted to leave. In fact, none of the 8 elders of the inner sect liked him. The reason was simple. Every month, Lord Taishan received resources equivalent to an elder's, which meant taking away from everyone else. And it would be fine if he didn't, but for Qingshu sect, he was completely useless. No, I have something serious." Lord Taishan leaned to the sect leader's ear and whispered a few words. Then he saw an obvious expression of surprise on Taoist Xian Cheng's face. "Really? Nonsense. How could I lie?" Lord Taishan thumped his chest and said, "I've been with Qingshu sect for so many years. I can't shamelessly continue living off of you." "No way." Taoist Xian Cheng refused. "Our master instructed before passing away, to protect you as much as possible. I cannot violate his last wish. I want to go myself. How can it be against master's wishes?" Mu Chu Tai lowered his voice. "How about this? As long as you agree to let me go, I will." "Oh." Taoist Xian Cheng raised his long brow. "Will you keep your word?" "I keep my word," Lord Taishan assured repeatedly. "All right, then it's granted." After they finished talking, Taoist Xian Cheng announced to the disciples, "This trip to Dragon Elephant City, the former champion leader of the 10 prodigies of Skywater Continent, Lord Taishan Mu Chu Tai, will also go with them. Taoist Xian Cheng also took the opportunity to warmly encourage them. He said that Lord Taishan had a determined spirit, even though his cultivation was lost, reduced to only a qi refinement body. He still ignored the threat to his life to slay demons and devils. You young cultivators should learn from Lord Taishan. Do not spend your days thinking only of your immortality. Remember your duty as a righteous cultivator is to uphold the heavenly Tao, and so on. In the end, Lord Taishan successfully boarded the flying boat as the last person. As the flying boat sailed away, another Golden Core elder silently appeared beside the sect leader. Senior brother, what is that Mu up to? He's been hiding like a turtle for decades. Why suddenly think of going to the border? Why else? An old woman appeared. Surely to avoid the holy sect's soul-searching? Every few years, the 3 heavenly sects take turns conducting soul-searching on them, and the holy sect's methods are the most brutal, often leaving one devastated for over half a year after one session. Now that Chao Xie and the others have completed their soul-searching, and with the holy sect about to arrive, that Mu feels scared and wants to find an excuse to bolt. The border is far away, and with the world in chaos nowadays, it's impossible for the nascent soul cultivators of the holy sect to trek through mountains and rivers to chase them to Dragon Elephant City this time. What else? Xian Cheng Taoist said, do you think Gui Mountain Lord is really going to eradicate demons and defend the Tao? Just for this matter, he even gave me his hidden 2,000-year-old brew. But he can only evade for a while. This soul search penalty will eventually fall upon him. The elder retorted, if you ask me, he might as well perish in Dragon Elephant City. What's the point of living like this? Indeed, the old woman's tone was full of resentment. If not for him wasting lots of resources, our 8th junior brother might have successfully formed his core instead of watching helplessly as he perished and his Tao dissipated. All right, disperse now. Xian Cheng Taoist closed the topic. Be vigilant in recent times. As far as I know, since Huiqing's advancement directly to mid-stage nascent soul was circulated, many have become restless. Aboard the Cloud Peak. Inside the flying boat, Lord Taishan's arrival brought a flood of alcohol scent. Carrying a wine gourd, he chatted and laughed with several female disciples, who maintained respect towards him. After all, although Mu Chutai is now at Qi refinement, he once was Skywater's foremost prodigy, undoubtedly genuine. For someone like him, a word of guidance can be greatly beneficial to the younger generation. Thus, even if they subconsciously despise or secretly curse Gui Mountain Lord, no one openly wishes to offend him. Come, little girls. Mu Chutai raised his ordinary flying sword. Today I'm in good spirits and plan to pass on a sword-controlling mnemonic to you. Do you know Heavenly Slaughter Lord? Back in the day, he chased me for a spar, just trying to secretly learn this sword technique from me. Chun Sansi noticed that when demonstrating the mantra, the other party intentionally glanced towards the blind girl, seemingly wanting to catch her attention. Yet throughout, the blind girl stood like an ice sculpture at the bow with her sword, without even glancing this way. Hence, Lord Taishan lost his interest in teaching the younger generation. A bunch of idiots. After demonstrating twice thoroughly, you still haven't remembered it. You are truly rotten wood beyond sculpting. Scram. Not teaching anymore. Go ponder on your own. Damn, it's disappointing. Though Lord Taishan was gentle a moment ago, he suddenly started to curse irritably. The disciples were neither surprised nor bothered as they were long accustomed to it. Indeed, years ago, many would bring good wine and meat to visit Lord Taishan for guidance. However, with few gaining anything, gradually less were willing to interact with him. Today, obtaining a sword technique unexpectedly delighted them. Everyone raised their flying swords and went to the other end of the deck to ponder. At the bow, only Chun Sansi, Jiang Xie, and Lord Taishan remained. Jiang Les. Lord Taishan put away the wine gourd, approached the blind girl. Do you still remember me? The blind girl faced the clouds, ignoring him. I was a longtime friend of your master, and when you were young, I taught you sword practice. Mu Chutai prattled on. By rights, I count as half your master. How about I give you some guidance? Seeing this, Chun Sansi understood. This whole display wasn't Lord Taishan saying he wished to generously teach the younger generation. He purely wanted to teach the blind girl alone. It is well known that Lord Taishan has a peculiar temperament when dealing with ordinary disciples. Even Chun Sansi had to endure various demands and tests before he could obtain some parts of the cultivation technique. But now, him proactively wanting to teach the sword technique to the blind woman seems odd. Moreover, the blind woman has no interest whatsoever. Despite being ignored, Lord Taishan doesn't feel awkward and continues to persistently say beside the woman, Jiang, I have seen you make a move. Your sword technique has big flaws. With my guidance, you can definitely reach a higher level. The blind woman remains silent. You don't believe me? Mu Chutai draws the Shangqing sword, intending to demonstrate, when you swing your sword, shut up. Jiang Xie finally couldn't tolerate the drunkard's incessant chatter and coldly rebuked with killing intent. To his surprise, her eventual response only made Lord Taishan more excited, as he quickened his speech. You need to achieve the unity of man and sword, and to do that, you need clang. The sudden sound of the sword resounded like a dragon's roar, carrying a bone-chilling cold energy that froze the void and then tore everything apart. It was the blind woman unexpectedly unsheathing her sword, the blade aimed directly at the drunkard's throat, about to strike to kill. The difference in realms was tremendous. How could Lord Taishan possibly withstand it? Seeing that the blind woman had no intention of stopping, Chun Sansi had no choice but to brandish the Shangqing sword, unleashing surging water element true power. Clang! The blades collided with a sound like a large bell. Chun Sansi's water element true power froze layer by layer the moment it touched the ice soul sword, even affecting the meridians within his body. The opponent's mana had an effect similar to the burning skyfire, capable of corroding his dantian and meridians. Yet, with the disciples nearby, he dared not reveal his true strength and had to endure the setback, stumbling back a few steps. The blind woman was clearly taken aback but didn't say much, merely sheathed her sword and turned away from the deck. Eh? Lord Taishan wanted to pursue, but another piercing cold sword chi came his way. Chun Sansi grabbed and pulled him aside. Mu Chutai felt the chill brush past his face, a strand of white hair at his temple floating away, finally giving up. Wretched girl! He stomped his foot and cursed at the back of the female sword cultivator. Unappreciative! So many people wish to be taught by me, yet I refuse to teach them. Boy, don't you agree? Chun Sansi repeatedly responded, yes, while feeling odd inside. Although Lord Taishan had a bad reputation, would his second senior sister go so far as to attempt a lethal strike? The killing intent in those two sword chi attacks was genuine. Upon recalling, his master's wife seemed to have the same attitude toward Lord Taishan, and he felt that perhaps there were past grievances. Humph! Mu Chutai coldly said, you, boy, still know how to act like a junior. Now, show me the results of your cultivation over this period. With his right arm slightly injured, Chun Sansi dared not delay. After casting a spell to seal some meridians to prevent the injury from worsening, he began his practice on the spot. After all, with Lord Taishan's eccentric temper, who knew when he'd change his mind about teaching again? Remember, not only your martial arts must have its own style, but so must your circumlation. Everyone is different, and only by finding those slight differences and playing to your strengths can your cultivation speed increase day by day. This is what people refer to as comprehension. Lord Taishan sat on the deck, drinking while pointing out the Jiang Mountain. Finally, he said, all right, perform a sword technique for me. Chun Sansi hesitated. Sword technique? Mu Chutai impatiently said, do as you're told? Where's all the nonsense? Chun Sansi took a deep breath, circulating his circulation while practicing his swordsmanship. Continue. Lord Taishan squinted his eyes, staring at the flashing sword edge, lost in thought. Approximately an hour later, Chun Sansi was able to leave. He returned to his cabin room, took off half his clothes, revealing his right side, and saw his entire arm's surface covered in frost. With no one around, Chun Sansi dared to circulate true power, allowing the burning sky fire to flow through his meridians, removing the cold. Knock, knock. Just then, there was a gentle knock on the door. Chun Sansi stopped his cultivation, put on his magic robe and said solemnly, "Please come in." Creak. The door opened. Unexpectedly, it was the blind woman. Second senior sister? Chun Sansi stood up and asked, "Is there something you need?" Jiang Xie approached him with light steps, paused, then produced a porcelain bottle from her palm, saying succinctly, "This is for you." Chun Sansi opened it to find healing elixir pills inside. He understood immediately and said, "It's fine, just a minor injury. But senior sister's sword chi is indeed sharp, truly rare in this world." Jiang Xie stood without any reaction, as if she were a normal blind person standing still. Speaking of which, Chun Sansi inquired, "Why did senior sister attempt to kill senior Mu?" The blind woman didn't answer, but turned and left the room, only pausing at the threshold to utter 3 words filled with killing intent. "He deserves to die." As Chun Sansi watched his senior sister's departing silhouette, he muttered to himself, feeling like it was a deep-seated blood feud. But there were parts that didn't make sense. Without overthinking someone else's business, after taking the elixir the blind woman gave him, he began to meditate and regulate his breath. The flying boat fell silent. On this journey to Dragon Elephant City, the journey is long, and according to the navigator Cultivator, it would take at least over 20 days to fly there. Dragon Elephant City, located within the territory of Sishui Dao at the Tianshui border, is usually managed by the Great Song Immortal Dynasty. After the righteous and evil factions war began, the Demon Suppression Department's manpower became insufficient. Hence the Holy Sect ordered that the sects nearby would take turns to guard it. As for the root cause of the righteous and evil factions' war, it is the struggle for cultivation resources. Humans who cultivate through normal paths often primarily absorb nature's spiritual energy, whereas demon cultivators prefer the evil atmospheric energy. Whenever they occupy a spirit vein, they would gradually transform it into a slaughter vein through blood sacrifice, slaughter, and other means. Once it becomes a slaughter vein, ordinary cultivators can no longer reside, and even the surrounding spiritual beasts and spirit plants mutate. Transforming a spirit vein into a slaughter vein requires sufficient slaughter. However, purifying a slaughter vein back into a spirit vein is unknown how many resources and time it would take. Therefore, righteous cultivators do not hesitate to pay a huge price to build a great wall across heaven and earth at the Tianshui border. But just as mortals may be unable to build a great wall due to geographical reasons, the cultivation world also faces many interferences, resulting in some gaps. Dragon Elephant City is the place responsible for guarding the gap. After Chun Sansi's flying boat operated for 8 days, messages ahead were received. A group of demon cultivators made use of the full moon night to deploy a formation and infiltrate the Sishui Dao territory, lurking among mortal villages and towns. Thus, upon entering Dragon Elephant City, their first task was to disperse and conduct a round of searches in the mortal world. Speaking of which, Chun Sansi had interacted with the ancient demon clan very long before. That was more than 20 years ago, within the Yin Mountain Range in the northern territory of the Great Han, where he personally destroyed the ancient demon clan's blood sacrifice altar in Liangzhou and eliminated the 4 barbarian tribes. Since then, the barbarians had stopped plundering the border. The journey on the flying boat was extremely dull. Due to the lack of spiritual energy for cultivation, Chun Sansi could only focus on honing various skills. However, in the following days, Lord Taishan might have been bored, as he called him over almost daily to rebuke him, sharing a few insights amidst the scolding. Chun Sansi gained quite a lot of useful experience from it. What was curious was, after sharing his insights each time, Lord Taishan would require him to rehearse swordsmanship using extreme divine power. His close companionship with Mu Chutai soon drew the envy of other disciples. Many privately inquired about how he managed to get along well with Lord Taishan, then left the team to obtain good wine and meat, just to seek a move or two. Mu Chutai often only accepted things but did not teach. Until several days later, he seemed embarrassed and agreed to speak on the deck every day at dawn. However, the content was more beneficial to female cultivators, though the latter didn't listen at all. And so, after another 10 days, the group finally reached their destination, Shuedao. Arriving above the junction point of two paths, everyone saw a strange scene. Right in front of them, the previously cloudless and sunny sky suddenly became filled with dense dark clouds, with thunder rolling in the clouds, starkly contrasting with the clear skies and white clouds outside Shuedao, clearly distinct. At the same time, the flying boat began descending, changing from high altitude to low altitude, almost skimming below the mountain ranges. Everyone, Xue Xinrong from Flowing Cloud Peak stepped forward to explain to everyone. Many senior and junior brothers might be here for the first time at the border. This was the Demon Suppression Great Wall. The Great Wall in the cultivation world, unlike the mortal world, is not just about building a wall. Yet, it shares similar principles. The main function of the mortal world's Great Wall is to block warhorses and prevent large-scale cavalry raids. The cultivation world's Great Wall serves similarly, but it not only needs to block the ground, but also the boundless sky. Cultivators can fly, and the sky is boundless and infinite, making it impossible to block completely. So, the Great Wall of Demon Suppression has a major function, forbidden space. As the name implies, forbidding high-altitude flying. What Chun Sansi saw was precisely the layers of thunderclouds above Shuedao. Everyone, take a look! Xue Xinrong took out a low-level spiritual beast and forced it to enter under the dark clouds. Crack! Instantly, countless lightning bolts struck down, pulverizing the spiritual beast. Under such prohibition, any living creature could only fly low or otherwise be struck by thunderstorms. Even if high-realm cultivators could resist the thunder, it would inevitably cause a big disturbance, alerting sky-water continent. The ground Great Wall city walls can also isolate all earth tunneling techniques. Combining the two makes the legend of the Demon Suppression Great Wall. Its aerial prohibition envelopes the entire Shuedao. The border Great Wall not only requires truly powerful beings to join forces and set up formations, but also annually consumes a large amount of spiritual energy. Therefore, once demon cultivators invade and occupy the spirit veins, it could cause situations that could destabilize the entire line. We're almost there. As the flying boat descended into the thick black clouds, Qingshu sect disciples showed different reactions. Some were nervous and fearful, while others were excited and expectant. Inside the Dragon Elephant City, there were a total of 3 forces guarding it. Qingshu sect, the Demon Suppression Department, and Guiyuan sect, each having a golden core. After passing through the mountain ranges ahead, they could see the majestic Dragon Elephant City. But just as everyone gathered on the deck and looked towards the front, the female cultivator Song Jing from Flowing Cloud Peak suddenly spoke. Senior Brother Xue, is someone coming to meet us ahead? Receiver. Xue Xinrong walked to the front of the crowd, squinting ahead to see indeed a group of cultivators wearing Demon Suppression Department battle robes flying on knife blades. I am Jia Zian, the gold medal Demon Suppression Guard of Shuedao's Demon Suppression Department, sent by Commander Qian to support the Taoists of Qingshu sect. A middle-aged man with a long beard raised a token in his hand high. An emergency situation has occurred. The demon cultivators who infiltrated Shuedao territory days ago suddenly launched a blood sacrifice behind Dragon Elephant City. Commander Qian sent me to inform you not to go to Dragon Elephant City, but to immediately clear the demonic barrier. Taoist friend. Xue Xinrong tapped the folding fan in his hand, half believing, and said, My father sent a message an hour ago, and did not mention it. The middle-aged man was taken aback, then said, We just hurried from the city an hour ago. If we don't go quickly, it will be too late. Oh, is it? Xue Xinrong said. If that's the case, then, D. Halfway through the sentence, the mana in his dantian exploded. The folding fan in his hand shone brightly, transforming into a piercing stream that bombarded ahead. The middle-aged man was shocked, hurriedly summoned a black shield to defend himself, while shouting, "Taoist of Qingshu sect? Are you crazy? Wretch, still pretending to be a ghost here?" Xue Xinrong sternly rebuked. "My father didn't send a transmission at all, but traveling from Dragon Elephant City to here would at least take half a day. An hour to rush here, you think I'm a 3-year-old? Everyone be cautious. They are demon cultivators in disguise." Senior brother Zhang suddenly realized, as a pocket-sized hammer in his palm rapidly enlarged, instantly becoming like a mountain covering the sky, and slammed forward. On the other side, as soon as Chen Sansi walked out of the cabin, he used Qi observation skill to detect the evil atmospheric energy within these people. He had already boldly taken action first, his true power surging, as if the Yangtze River was pouring out from his sleeve, directly engulfing several demon cultivators. The initially calm and dull journey suddenly became a blood-pounding melee. Once the battle erupted, a lot of figures quickly emerged from the mountains below, like locusts swarming into the sky. All were demon cultivator disciples already lying in ambush, numbering at least 200. "Everyone, do not panic," Xue Xinrong shouted. "All we need to do is to delay time. Our thousands of fellow disciples from behind will soon catch up." Although the Foundation Establishment Cultivator and the Qi Refining Cultivators were riding different flying artifacts, they were not far apart. Holding on for an hour at most, they would be able to wait for the large force behind. But the problem now is how to hold out for an hour. The number of demon cultivators ambushed here is large, and the number of Foundation Establishment Cultivators is not small at all. Every disciple of the Qingshu sect must fight against multiple foes at once. Chen Sansi weaved in and out among the crowd, and as the Shangqing sword danced, it was like a water dragon swirling beneath thunderclouds. Wherever it passed, heads of demon cultivators wearing the Demon Suppression Department's battle robes fell to the ground. The other Qingshu sect disciples were also displaying their skills to their fullest extent. Above the heavenly dome, suddenly spirit light burst forth, diverse and dazzling like twinkling stars. Only Lord Taishan stayed unmoved in the cabin, watching the battlefield through the window and sipping from a gourd of wine. However, he didn't want to participate, nor could he escape. A demon cultivator targeted him, driving a rake towards him. Crash! The cabin door shattered, splinters flying everywhere. Mu Chutai staggered and fell. Seeing the enemy attacking again, he rolled clumsily away to dodge the combo. The demon cultivator only saw a flash of silver light. Before he could react, he felt himself being pushed backward by a force, yet he saw his body still standing in place. Incredibly, his head had been swiftly severed. "Little punks, watch closely." Mu Chutai hiccuped, suddenly holding a flying sword, looking at the Qingshu sect disciples who were staring at him, and confidently said, "This is the sword control technique. The art of killing with a flying sword. One must strike invisibly, kill silently. What you guys are doing is child's play. Where did this Qi refining servant come from?" Several demon cultivators used investigation skill, clearly recognizing the opponent was just in the Qi refining realm, and couldn't tolerate his boastful talk, immediately moving together to surround him. However, just like before, they only saw the silver light of the sword edge, and one by one they lost consciousness. Demon cultivators of the same realm are often more ferocious than ordinary cultivators. Yet at this moment, these cultivators couldn't even last a single round against the drunkard. What formidable sword control technique! A Foundation Establishment demon cultivator squinted his eyes, then said viciously, "All of you step aside. I'll handle him." Lord Taishan held the wine gourd in his left hand, and waved his sword finger with his right. The Foundation Establishment demon cultivator couldn't catch where, and when the flying sword would attack, feeling a sharp pain in the left chest heart area. But it was just a sharp pain. He relied on the protective body technique of the Foundation Establishment realm to withstand the blow. His expression turning from solemn to sinister. "Qi refining is still Qi refining. Prepare to die." A blood-red long knife suddenly enlarged, cutting downwards vertically. The standard flying sword of Qingshu sect rebounded. Caught neatly by Mu Chutai's agile hands, he chanted. The Shangqing sword shone with golden light and met the blood-red flying knife head-on. Yet the next moment, he flew backward, landing on the ground, coughing up thick, clotted blood. Facing a foundation establishment as a qi refining cultivator, even if Lord Taishan's qi refining level surpassed ordinary cultivators, the power of the mana couldn't compare at all. The demon cultivator pursued the victory, aiming to take the drunkard's life. Mu Chutai shouted loudly, "My unfilial disciple, aren't you coming to save your master?" Not far away, Chun Sansi struck the demon cultivators in front of him with a sword, activating the wind-splitting seal to rush over at high speed, blocking the blood-red flying knife just before it hit the drunkard, successfully repelling the demon cultivator. "Senior Mu, stay within 7 steps of me, then I can fully protect you," he said, while dealing with the increasing number of demon cultivators before him, constantly keeping an eye on Lord Taishan's safety. The Qingshu sect disciples, especially several like Xue Xianrong, though having noble statuses within the sect, were no less fearless facing demon cultivators, being among the most valiant. "Activate the formation," the demon cultivator leader disguised as a demon suppression department silver token official, seeing the situation deadlocked, suddenly shouted. Below them, beams of blood light shot into the sky, quickly enveloping the airspace within dozens of miles with sinister evil qi. In this kind of formation, the demon cultivator's evil qi would be continuously replenished, while the righteous disciples had to constantly guard against their meridians being eroded. With such weakening and strengthening, the demon cultivators, who already outnumbered them, soon gained a tremendous advantage, surrounding the Qingshu sect disciples near the flying boat, leading them into a fierce struggle. "Fellow brothers, hold on." Xue Xianrong stood at the forefront, helping some injured junior brothers retreat, while boosting morale. Among the crowd, Chun Sansi, due to concerns of exposing his identity, couldn't exert all his strength, additionally needing to protect Lord Taishan, could only manage to advance and retreat smoothly, unable to slaughter enemies on a large scale. He recalled that before departing, his second martial sister's injury had just relapsed, and looked around to ensure her safety. Seeing the blind woman wielding the Ice Soul sword, the sword's edge moving, snow and ice filled the sky, forming an ice glacier amidst the clouds. One by one demon cultivator corpses hung on the glacier, crimson blood flowing like trembling flowers of the other shore in the wind. Remembering when at the 9 Nether Forbidden Land, the blind woman had faced hundreds of sect disciples chasing her alone, remained fearless. Afterwards, news came that those people had been completely annihilated. In terms of such combat prowess, over 200 devil cultivators shouldn't be able to trap everyone. Therefore, it can be concluded that the previous injuries had a significant impact on Jiang Xia. Moreover, Chun Sansi noticed that the blind woman seemed to be deliberately avoiding battle, rarely choosing to kill the enemy unless absolutely necessary. During this process, the familiar vermilion and ink-colored mysterious light inside her body lit up again, gradually turning bright from dimness. Jiang Xie seemed to be deliberately suppressing the mysterious light, hence her reluctance to take action too often. Chun Sansi didn't know what strange ailment it was, but he knew that if things continued like this, before the main force could arrive, more than half of the disciples on the ship might be killed or injured. "Senior, be careful." Chun Sansi once again intercepted a fatal blow for Lord Taishan, almost putting himself at a disadvantage. He quickly adjusted his breathing and re-entered the fierce battle against many opponents. Meanwhile, Chun Sansi suddenly felt a chill down his spine, as if a fierce beast lurking in the shadows was scrutinizing him from head to toe, making him physically and mentally uncomfortable, hair standing on end. Not good. It's a divine sense. Someone is scanning him with a divine sense, and it's from a golden core cultivator. Ha 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 ha. Along with mocking laughter, a black mist rolled in from afar, the unsettling gaze coming from within it. Chun Sansi immediately felt like facing a formidable enemy. If he truly were to be attacked by a golden core cultivator, he wouldn't care about revealing his identity or not, he would have to try his best to escape from this place. Fortunately, it seemed the target of the golden core cultivator in the black mist wasn't him, but the person behind him. To kill a person within 10 steps, and not travel 1,000 miles alone. TSK. How did the once high-spirited Lord Taishan fall to such a state? Needing to hide behind a Foundation establishment junior to survive. A sinister-looking elder in a purple robe held a staff in his hand as he charged forward. His already ugly face left with only one misty gray eye, making him appear even more ferocious and terrifying. Zhong, old ghost. Having been battered all over in the chaotic battle, Lord Taishan recognized the comer and turned to flee. Where do you think you're going? The killing intent of the elder in the purple robe was overwhelming. You blinded one of my eyes back then. Today I want you to be cut to pieces. Chen Sansi felt helpless. This once first prodigy of heavenly water truly wasn't welcomed by both righteous and devil paths. And it's likely that this golden core cultivator was drawn here because of Mu Chutai's presence. Lord Taishan's sword control speed couldn't match that of a golden core cultivator. And in just a flash he was caught up with. What's with your temper, Zhong, old ghost? He pleaded shamelessly. Spare my life. I am willing to join the demon sect, offering all my lifelong learning. Begging for mercy? The elder in the purple robe paused, then showed a hideous grin of excitement. Even the renowned Lord Taishan would beg for mercy? Senior Mu. Upon hearing these words, Xue Shenrong became enraged. We cultivators fear not death in exorcising demons. How can you utter words of surrendering to the demon path? Even though Lord Taishan's reputation wasn't great, he was once a representative figure of the righteous path. Now kneeling and pleading for mercy before someone from the demon sect was an utter humiliation to the disciples of the Qingshu sect. Truly pathetic. The elder in the purple robe looked at Lord Taishan. His initial excitement at avenging a great feud faded, leaving only disdain. With a surname Mu, seeing you live like this is pitiful. Let me grant you release. The staff in his hand suddenly transformed into a giant python over a dozen meters long, its massive mouth opening to devour the drunken man whole. Lord Taishan summoned the Shangxing flying sword, but its blade shattered at the moment of contact with the python, forcing him to desperately retreat. Seeing the other party about to meet his end, Chen Sansi hesitated for a moment, then decided to step in once. Because after the golden core cultivator approached, he suddenly realized that the opponent was not as strong as he imagined. This purple-robed elder was only at the early stage of the golden core. While Chen Sansi's current comprehensive strength could easily handle late-stage Foundation establishment cultivators, facing early-stage golden core cultivators, although not a match, he wouldn't die upon contact. He decided to make an attack, hoping Lord Taishan could find a way to escape. If not, he would have done his utmost. Buzz! But just as Chen Sansi was gathering his true power, a metal humming that reverberated through the internal organs suddenly came from above everyone's heads. The heavy sound descended from the sky, fallen from the thick storm clouds. Tai Ching's soul-suppressing bell. Suppress. A copper bell, over 10 feet wide, descended from the sky as if someone had moved the entire Kunlun mountain into the sky and then hurled it down heavily. What? The old man in the purple robe was startled and quickly controlled the giant python to rise to the sky, colliding with the massive copper bell. The vast mana surged like the sea, with them at the center, dispersing the thick clouds and overturning the flying boat suspended in midair. The disciples of the Qingshu sect and the devil cultivators were scattered and flung about. After a single exchange, the giant python transformed back into a vine-wood staff and returned to the old man's hand. He looked up and loudly demanded, "Who are you?" The copper bell began to shrink rapidly. A middle-aged man wearing a black Taoist robe stood on top and said in a deep voice, "Flowing Cloud Peak, Xue Jingfeng." Father, Xue Shenrong, whose mana was nearly exhausted, was overjoyed. "Elder Xue. It's Elder Xue. We're saved." "Zhong Wutai," Xue Jingfeng rebuked. "You were once a person of a prestigious sect, and now you serve the demon path. How dare you face your ancestors? Both righteous and demon paths seek immortality. Only their routes differ. Is there any substantial difference between them? Zhong Wutai sneered. Save your righteous nonsense. Today I'll take your golden core to forge a magical treasure. With that, he attacked again. The two golden core cultivators began their battle of spells. Meanwhile, another medium-sized flying boat was approaching, accompanied by many cultivators. This time, it was the genuine Demon Suppression Department Demon Suppression Guards, along with the Guiyuan sect disciples also responsible for guarding Dragon Elephant City. Their numbers far exceeded those of the devil cultivators. The tide of battle shifted. Retreat! Seeing the situation turning unfavorable, the leader of the devil cultivators made a decisive order for everyone to flee. One silver token commander of the Demon Suppression Department shouted, "Don't pursue a desperate enemy. There may be ambushes nearby. Let's return to Dragon Elephant City and plan our next move." The skirmish, which had started suddenly, ended just as quickly. But even though it didn't last long, 2 out of 16 Qingshu Sect Foundation establishment disciples were sacrificed. The rest began to clean the battlefield and prepared to leave the place. Chun Sansi asked, "Is Senior Mu all right?" "Won't die." Lord Taishan took a fierce swig of wine. That Zhong Wutai should have been stabbed to death with one sword back then. Chun Sansi didn't waste any words and went straight to the girl in black. "How are you, senior sister?" "No problem." Jiang Xie still spoke briefly. Chun Sansi noticed that the red and black light within her was gradually fading, so he no longer worried overly. His master treated him well, so he naturally had to take good care of his senior sister. After they tidied up briefly, the disciples of the Qingshu sect boarded the warship that came to pick them up. Not long ago, fellow disciples who had been joking by their side suddenly died, making the atmosphere somewhat heavy. Furthermore, their attitude towards Lord Taishan transitioned from simple disdain to extreme hatred. Soon the warship sailed. With more than half a day's journey, they would reach the destination of this trip, Dragon Elephant City. As the surroundings calmed down, Chun Sansi found a quiet corner to sit cross-legged, intending to meditate through this time. "Big brother." Just as he closed his eyes, an incredibly familiar voice suddenly rang in his ears. "Big brother, long time no see." Even after being apart for a long time, Chun Sansi quickly recognized the caller. The remnant of the former dynasty, a descendant of the Chao family. "Chaoji." Chun Sansi instinctively wanted to open his eyes and look but suddenly realized something. How did the opponent see through his disguise technique? Not right. Even Chao Xie couldn't see through the disguise, so how could Chaoji? This person is bluffing. Thinking about this, Chun Sansi forcibly stopped the action of raising his eyes, pretending not to hear those few calls. He could feel a pair of eyes lingering on him for a moment before slowly moving away. "How's it?" In the corner of the warship, a disciple of the Guiyuan sect said, "Junior brother Chao? Is this person Chun Lei?" Chao Ji withdrew his gaze from the Qingshu sect Taoist sitting cross-legged, took out a fruit from his embrace, bit into it, and said slowly, "Who knows? Even Elder Chao couldn't see it. It might not be a disguise." Beilija murmured, "But why does Elder Rong still want us to pay extra attention to this person? Should we find a way to probe further?" "No need to probe." Chao Ji threw the remaining half of the fruit into the air and clapped his hands. Elder Rong's meaning is simple. Kill rather than let go. Whether he is my elder brother or not, find an opportunity to deal with him. It's not that easy, right? Beilija lowered his voice. Just now they were surrounded, and I perceive this person's realm and cultivation are not below ours. I say, senior brother Bailey. Chao Ji patted the other's shoulder. What are you afraid of? Don't we still have me? Beilija's junior brother indeed had an impressive identity background, being someone the heavenly killing true monarch valued highly. He came to Dragon Elephant City this time partly to obtain the core formation spiritual object, Creation Jade, and also to use this opportunity to build good relations with the people of the heavenly sect to obtain better cultivation techniques in the future. All right, I will give my full support to junior brother Chao. Really troublesome. Chun Sansi slowly opened his eyes. He knew he was already being watched. This Guiyuan sect is really troublesome. I don't know when they can be completely eradicated to give an account to his senior brother in the underworld. It seems that this time in Dragon Elephant City, not only must he be wary of demon cultivators but also be cautious of his own people. Setting his thoughts aside, Chun Sansi got up and went to the edge of the deck, looking down to see a majestic giant city coming into view. Among the continuous mountain ranges, a grand city rose abruptly, like a demon-suppressing tower, spanning the sea Shui Dao. The huge plaque engraved with 3 large characters, Dragon Elephant City. Having finally arrived at the destination, the warship carrying the cultivators passed through the city protection array after verifying identities and entered the city sky. Chun Sansi saw, on the black city wall's surface, obscure runes and flags of various colors everywhere. This city protection array is clearly a third-tier large formation. If fully activated, the consumption of spiritual energy alone would be immense. The warship hovered in the air. Cultivators flew away one after another, guided by the cultivators within the city to gather in the central arena. On the high platform, an elder with a white beard sat in the Taisher chair, eyes closed and resting. This person is one of the elders of the Guiyuan sect, Master Fengji, also the junior brother of Supreme Elder Master Fengqi, Elder Huang Laojiu. He did not speak. Instead, a person looking like a child explained the rules to the newly entered cultivators, assigned tasks, and then distributed identity tokens to Foundation establishment cultivators, granting them free passage. The situation is relatively stable for now, with the Golden Corps commander of the Demon Suppression Department guarding the border at Star Peak Mountain. The main trouble within Shui Dao was a group of demon cultivators who recently intruded. This was the primary task for cultivators of all sides to tackle next. Lastly, the rewards everyone was most concerned about. Just like mortal armies must have provisions, if you want cultivators to risk their lives, various resources are indispensable. Copper coin. The child loudly explained the reward system. In Dragon Elephant City, all merits are exchanged for specially made copper coins. Disciples of each sect can earn copper coins by slaying demons and then use them to exchange for items in the city's treasure pavilion. Item lists and corresponding prices are posted publicly on the arena walls. Magic artifacts, cultivation techniques, elixir pills, foundation establishment pills, and the most precious creation jade dew all available. It's important to know that not only for loose cultivators, but even for the Heavenly Water 36 Heavenly Sects, core formation spiritual objects are incredibly rare. Including the recent spiritual object distribution in Qingshu sect, only barely enough for 3 people, while the rest have to find ways to strive for themselves. Every 100 years, there will be Golden Core sects that decline as the lack of new Golden Core cultivators' successors causes the sect's downfall. Therefore, most of the Foundation establishment cultivators gathered in Dragon Elephant City share the same goal, which is the core formation spiritual object. Creation Jade Dew 2,000 copper coins. Judging purely by numbers, it's not much, but the difficulty of obtaining each copper coin is indeed not low. Killing 10 early-stage Qi refining demon cultivators, 5 middle-stage ones, or even 1 late-stage of Qi refining demon cultivator can earn 1 copper coin respectively. Killing an early-stage Foundation establishment demon cultivator, 10 copper coins, mid-stage 20, late-stage 50. Calculating this way, even for late-stage Foundation establishment, you need to kill a full 40 to gather enough copper coins. What concept is it for one person to kill 40 cultivators of the same realm? In thousands of years, only a mere 2 or 3 geniuses have been able to achieve it. Besides, where are there so many Foundation establishment demon cultivators waiting for you to kill? Moreover, Dragon Elephant City motivates cultivators to compete by adopting a transparent and open system, displaying the copper coins owned by the top 1,000 cultivators in the city under the appealing name Heavenly Rankings. Chun Sansi glanced over and found that the current first place was a silver demon suppression guard from the Demon Suppression Department, with 580 copper coins. The second place was a loose cultivator, with 560 copper coins. On the way here, Chun Sansi was attacked, and he killed more than 20 demon cultivators, which could also be exchanged for copper coins. He currently has a total of 5 copper coins. Far from 2,000, the distance seems daunting. Moreover, there's only 1 bottle of creation jade due. If someone else exchanges it first, they will have to wait to see if the holy sect replenishes it. Therefore, he must hurry. Not only Chinsansi, but other cultivators hoping to achieve core formation are also anxiously asking where they could go to kill demon cultivators. He has to admit that this method can indeed greatly motivate cultivators to risk their lives for it. Everyone, don't be anxious, you can also. The youngster mentioned other ways to acquire copper coins, such as performing specific tasks, or retaking everything inside the mines occupied by demon cultivators. New Qingshu sect disciples, don't rush. In the next 3 days, you won't take on tasks. You'll first do patrols to familiarize yourselves with the Shi River Path's environment. These words elicited a cry of despair. Many people felt that delaying for 3 days would make them miss the opportunity to exchange for creation jade due. Chen Sansi thought this arrangement was reasonable. As the saying goes, sharpening your tools won't delay your work. Recklessly rushing about without knowing anything would not only yield little, but could easily cost one's life. After receiving the token, these Foundation Establishment disciples were placed on a mountain with a 3rd-stage cave mansion. In the following 2 days, Chen Sansi routinely patrolled with people from the Demon Suppression Department, getting familiar with the environment, and soon he had a general understanding of the Shi River Path. Shi River Path is one of the gaps in the Demon Suppression Great Wall, primarily relying on Star Peak Mountain as a natural barrier to block threats. Above them, a giant divine eagle could be seen circling, with a small city on its back, also housing the Demon Suppression Department's army. The Demon War this time reportedly has the Dasong Court almost exert all its power, deploying almost the entire combat force of the Demon Suppression Department across the border. They even transferred countless Golden Core cultivators to Dragon Elephant City, because it is where the Dasong Court's Imperial Mausoleum is located. Many years ago, Dragon Elephant City was originally the capital city of the Dasong, but due to a border defeat, some territory was occupied by demon cultivators, leading to a hasty eastward capital relocation. However, the Imperial Mausoleum remained here. Speaking of Dasong, although initially established as a puppet, it also produced some prodigious individuals along the way. The emperor with the temple-named Spirit Sect once achieved nascent soul, and the emperor known as Shen Sect was even hailed as a flying ascent candidate. But these individuals either died on the border battlefield or met untimely ends, never truly standing at the pinnacle of heavenly water. In the end, Dasong has continuously maintained its puppet status. It was once a capital city of the Immortal Dynasty. Thus, Dragon Elephant City is quite prosperous, and with numerous loose cultivators gathering to join the battle, it is even more bustling. Every day after patrolling, Chen Sansi would also have a drink in the tavern with several Qingshu sect disciples. As for Lord Taishan, on the first day of arriving in Dragon Elephant City, he borrowed some spirit stones from him and then disappeared into the city's most famous spring tower, never seen again. In a flash, 3 days passed. The next morning, Chen Sansi prepared to go to the venue to take on tasks. "Would you like to go together, senior sister?" He came in front of the female blind's cave mansion to inquire, but no one responded. It's unclear whether she's not inside or deliberately ignoring him due to reclusive nature. Chen Sansi wasn't overly worried. After all, he already reminded her as he should, and she is not weaker than him. He was about to leave when he saw Xue Xinrong and others appear nearby. "Junior brother Liu?" Xue Xinrong greeted him. "You're also looking for Jiang Shenzi?" "Yes, but second senior sister seems not to be here," Chen Sansi casually replied before brushing past them. "This kid," Zhang Wuya said displeasedly. "He's really quite rude. He came to Dragon Elephant City for the creation jade due, right?" Song Jing said worriedly. "I specifically observed this person when encountering demon cultivators before and found his spell fighting skills were quite high. He seems to be a strong competitor." Upon hearing this, Zhang Wuya's expression turned solemn. "No problem," Xue Xinrong said calmly. "It's just fair competition. This time, out of the 3 portions of creation jade due from the Qingshu sect, 1 was obtained by Flowing Cloud Peak. However, Elder Shui Jingfeng, to set a fair example, did not give the creation jade due to his son but to Zhang Wuya. I really don't know what the Supreme Elder is thinking, Song Jing said indignantly. There are only 3 portions, yet one has to be given to the female devil. Now she's nowhere to be found. What should we do? Don't hurry. Shui Xinrong fiddled with his folding fan. There will always be an opportunity. Entering the demon realm for reconnaissance, 20 copper coins. Killing demon cultivators doubles the copper coins. Assault and kill demon cultivators inside the Linglong workshop, 10 copper coins. Entering mortal areas to capture demon cultivators. The copper coins obtained are doubled. Inside the Dao field, Chun Sansi stood in front of the bulletin board, browsing the various tasks, most of which had extremely high danger levels. For example, reconnaissance involved crossing the Tianshui border into the western continent full of demon sects. This reminded Chun Sansi of when he was in Payang County, gathering intelligence with senior brother Wang and others, narrowly escaping death in the Shi River tribe. In the cultivation world, such incidents would only be more dangerous. Looking around, capturing demon cultivators was the relatively safe task. Even if there were accidents, at least it was within Tianshui, and other cultivators would come to assist. Moreover, this was a mandatory task, there was no evading it. An hour later, disciples from various sects formed teams under the command of a tributor from Dragon Elephant City. Chan Sansi and 2 of his fellow members from Qingshu sect, a total of 3 foundation establishment cultivators, led 40 Qi refining cultivators to the mortal villages 200 bailey east of the city to capture demon cultivators. Junior brother Lu from Baihua Valley? A fellow member with a gaunt face said, I am Su Yang from Choya Peak. My name is Lu Zhiyong. Another person introduced himself. Junior brother Lu, please advise. Polite. After a simple acquaintance, Chun Sansi took the role of team armor, leading everyone out of the city to capture the demon cultivators. Last time, hundreds of demon cultivators invaded Si Shui Dao, including a golden core cultivator encountered before. But the territory of Si Shui Dao was vast. Finding so few people was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Chun Sansi led everyone, circling in the sky for a full 4 days, without any discoveries. Until the 5th day, when they were preparing to search in more isolated areas, they finally found something. Lu, junior brother Lu. Lu Zhiyong hurriedly flew. A village ahead has discovered demon cultivators. Brother Su is leading people in a battle. Lead the way. Chun Sansi led the people forward. When they arrived, the battle had already ended, leaving only a few broken magic artifacts and the bodies of both sex cultivators. The demon has entered the village. Su Yang, with blood on his face, rushed forwards without a word. Chun Sansi followed closely. Dozens of cultivators in Taoist robes flew into a village nestled in the mountains. The village was dilapidated. Half of it was thatched huts. Emaciated villagers wandered the mud road with numb expressions. When they saw the sudden intrusion of immortal masters, they hurriedly hid in corners, their gaze fearful as if facing a tiger. There's blood. Lu Zhiyong followed the bloodstains, kicked open the wooden door of a dilapidated shack. Many cultivators rushed in. The spirit lights of flying swords shone bright, blades buzzed continuously. However, in the room that could be described as bare, there was only a woman so thin she was skin and bones, holding a dying child in her arms. Where are they? Su Yang interrogated. Have you seen a demon wearing a black cloak? The woman stared at everyone and shook her head. Nothing. Lu Zhiyong doubted. The bloodstains clearly appeared here. The woman held her child, saying nothing. Search, Su Yang ordered. The cultivators searched around the barren house but did not find any trace of the demon cultivator. Really strange. Lu Zhiyong muttered. Could it be that a nascent soul cultivator used spatial techniques to teleport away? Su Yang said impatiently, Let's hurry and go check outside. Junior brother Lu, what are you? They turned their heads and saw Chun Sansi silently circling the room, and upon reaching the bedroom, He suddenly formed a seal with his hands and cast a sword chi skill towards the wall ahead. Boom! The already crumbling clay wall instantly collapsed, and at the same time, a figure in a black robe howled and fell to the ground. This demon cultivator, using earth escape technique combined with concealing breath technique, if not for Chun Sansi's chi observation skill, would have likely deceived everyone. Woman, remember what this immortal master said. The demon cultivator shouted towards the next room and then got up to flee. Where are you going? Su Yang and others rushed up, blocking all escape routes. Go to hell! The demon cultivator, with a sinister face, threw a bag forward, and from the bag, billowing yellow sand covered the sky, enveloping everyone. Mysterious golden sand, a second-tier sand-type magic artifact, capable of bewildering the mind and devouring flesh. Two Qingshu sect Qi refining disciples rot away large chunks of flesh upon contact with the yellow sand. The others hurriedly employed their defense methods. Seeing the demon cultivator about to seize the chance to escape, Chun Sansi quickly applied a golden light body protection talisman to himself, enduring the heavy sand as he pursued and cast the wind-splitting seal, catching up to the opponent's back, his supreme sword like the Milky Way crashing down from the ninth heaven. Clang! The demon cultivator summoned a dagger to block. But at only an early Foundation establishment realm, he couldn't withstand it. The imposing true power knocked the dagger away, and his body flew back like a kite with a broken string, directly collapsing an abandoned thatched hut. Junior brother Lu, leave a survivor. Lu Jiong and Su Yang caught up. Chun Sansi naturally understood. In such a situation, with many demon cultivators scattered among mortals, finding each one was too time-consuming and intensive. Catching one alive to reveal the whereabouts of the others was the most efficient way. However, knowing he couldn't escape, the demon cultivator gathered evil chi and struck his own heavenly spirit, ending his own life. Ah! Su Yang felt regret, stomped hard, and then returned to the broken tile room with his flying sword pointed at the woman. Why did you hide the demon cultivator and not report it? The woman remained silent. Courting death. Su Yang, furious, was about to raise his hand to kill. Chun Sansi blocked with his sword. Brother Su, she is just a mortal. It's only natural for her not to speak out when encountering a demon cultivator. No need to make things difficult for her. Su Yang frowned, but said no more. You! Lu Jiong continued to scold the woman. We cultivators slay demons for the protection of you mortals. If you had spoken earlier, perhaps we wouldn't have lost 2 junior brothers. Upon hearing this, the woman slowly raised her head, her filthy cheeks showing a pair of eyes full of resentment. The sinister and vicious look shocked many cultivators. Let's go! Chun Sansi called his fellow sect members to leave first, then bent down, placing his hand on the child's pulse in the woman's arms. He said solemnly, I'm sorry, it's too late, can't be saved. The child was ravaged by poverty and illness and already gravely ill, with no spirit root, unable to receive spiritual energy to be saved. Chun Sansi took something out of his storage ring and placed it on the ground. These are some spirit stones and silver, to compensate for breaking your house earlier. Sorry for the shock. In the woman's hateful gaze, there were 2 parts surprise mixed in. Farewell. Chun Sansi did not linger, turned, and left. SSS. He had only taken 2 steps when he heard the dull sound of sharp objects piercing flesh behind him. Chun Sansi hurriedly turned back and saw the woman grabbing a rusty pair of scissors, ending her child's life, then piercing her own throat. You! He rushed forward, wanting to help, but the blood-drenched woman cast a rejecting glance at him. In Chun Sansi's confused gaze, the hand holding the scissors fell weakly, gradually losing life. Is this woman out of her mind? At the door, Su Yang looked disgusted. I really don't know what meaning there is in helping these people to hunt demon cultivators. Chun Sansi took the bodies, found a spot nearby, and used his magic to bury the mother and child. Junior brother Lu. Su Yang spoke impatiently. Do you really need to be so good to these ungrateful mortals? A simple matter. Chun Sansi said flatly, "Let's go check elsewhere." He arranged for the sect members' bodies to be taken back, while he led the remaining people to continue the hunt. Days flipped by, and a month passed in a flash. As they became more familiar with the environment of Sishui Path, their hunting efficiency slowly increased, accumulating 50 copper coins. Although still a long way off from the 2,000 needed, it was at least a good start. "This area should be clean." Lu Jiong pointed to the distance. "Let's go back to rest first, then continue searching the next area." "Too bad we didn't catch a big one." Su Yang sighed. "At this rate, it will be forever before we can exchange for what we want." "What do you all say?" Lu Jiong muttered. "So many demon cultivators lurking within Dragon Elephant City. What are they planning?" Based on past experience, when demon cultivators invade a territory, their favorite activities are to conduct various blood sacrifices or capture people as furnace tripods for training. But this time in Sishui Dao, it's eerily quiet. So far, there's been no sign of any harm from demon cultivators. Everyone was utterly perplexed. If something is unusual, there must be demons. This was Chun Sansi's first reaction. However, this matter wasn't something he could resolve alone, so he could only act according to circumstances. Dragon Elephant City. Chun Sansi arrived at the Heavenly Dao list at the dojo to check the current copper coin rankings. The previous top-ranked Demon Suppression Guard has fallen in battle, replaced by the previously second-ranked Loose Cultivator, with a total of over 700 copper coins. After that, Xue Shenrong managed to accumulate 280 copper coins in just a month. Chun Sansi deduced that it's highly likely several people cooperated to eliminate demons, focusing their earned copper coins on one person. It seemed that next he must act alone as well. Working with many is safe, but copper coins often need to be divided. If this drags on, Creation Jade Dew will soon be redeemed by others. Pa! While Chun Sansi was worrying, someone suddenly approached him, changing a new wooden token behind Lu Shangji. The wooden token displayed 120 in large characters. 70 appeared out of thin air. Chun Sansi glanced around and noticed a fleeting figure dressed in black in the distance. Second senior sister? He hurriedly chased after. "Senior sister, did you give me the copper coins?" The blind woman stood leaning on her sword, tacitly acknowledging. Chun Sansi asked, "What about senior sister herself?" "I don't need them." The blind woman spoke briefly, then flew away using sword control. This? Chun Sansi was somewhat surprised. To express gratitude, he could only use Emperor's breath soil to plant several heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Days in Dragon Elephant City gradually became stable. At every Mao hour, Chun Sansi would leave the city to hunt demon cultivators, usually gone for over a month, then return to exchange copper coins. During free time, he would retreat for cultivation, improving his skills proficiency. Time flies, sun and moon pass like arrows, and 2 years went by in the blink of an eye. According to the Great Han's calendar, it's now September of the 20th year of Tianwu. Mortal wars, once trapped in a stalemate, often last for a year or even several years. In the cultivation world, it's even more prolonged. According to ancient records, a battlefield in ancient times often lasted for hundreds of years. In today's context, it often requires a duration of 10 to several decades. Cultivation technique, swallowing fire technique, mid-stage foundation establishment, progress, 401/1000. After finishing meditation, Chun Sansi took out the Longdan bright silver spear and practiced martial arts in the cave mansion. Endless true power circulated through meridians, then split into his 4 limbs via the glazed heart. After hundreds or thousands of repetitions, his liver at the upper right abdomen gradually transcended the mortal body, transforming into translucent glaze, and a touch of azure mysterious light shone brightly inside. Cultivation technique, dragon scripture, true power late stage. Progress, 200/500. The liver gate of the 5 gates is named Ming Longyan, titled Han Ming, located in the east, color green, elements belong to wood. As of now, Chun Sansi hasn't obtained martial arts cultivation techniques for the golden body realm, nor has he prepared the corresponding spiritual objects. Thus, it's certain that he will first form the core in magic cultivation. Phew! Putting away the long spear, Chun Sansi exhaled a breath of stale air, took out the compass of the extreme north, and began to attempt solving it again. Golden spirit light danced in the sky, like the vast Milky Way. His divine sense connected to the array plate, and as he gently adjusted different directions, the golden stars would shift accordingly. From the initial chaos, it gradually coalesced into a vague pattern. However, every time Chun Sansi wanted to go further, his head would explode with pain, forcing him to sever the connection with the compass. Skill, formation, second tier. Progress, 481/1000. Thanks to the large number of array diagrams brought back by Deng Wuchang, his array formation expertise has been steadily improving over the past 2 years, deepening his progress in deciphering the compass. Once he becomes a third-tier array master, he would formally decipher the compass, coinciding with reaching the level to create the destructive spirit array. Grinding arrays is considered the most important thing outside of cultivation. In the past 2 years, most of the demon cultivators within Si Shui's territory have been cleared out, leading to fewer copper coins obtained from subsequent hunts. Currently, combined with second senior sister's assistance, Chun Sansi's total copper coins number 500, estimating it will take 2 more years to accumulate the required 2,000. Relying solely on hunting is no longer feasible. He paced inside his cave mansion and muttered to himself, "If it doesn't work, I'll have to seize spirit mines or go be a night watch outside Star Peak Mountain." In just 2 short years, over 1,000 loose cultivators have died. The path of cultivation is fraught with difficulties, but it has never been just talk. Additionally, about half a year ago, a major event occurred at the southern demon-slaying Great Wall. The High True Monarch, who was in charge, was betrayed by another nascent soul cultivator, resulting in his death and the dissipation of his Tao. The demon sect nearly opened a breach in the Great Wall, but it was stabilized again when the holy sect transferred Chao Xie from the heavenly sword sect there. This myriad Tao True Monarch is the nominal commander of the entire south. So far, it is only the divinity transformation cultivators who have not taken action temporarily, while the rest of the High Realm combat forces, along with the northern demon-slaying Great Wall, have seen half of their forces engaged in battle. It is said that the battles at the northern demon-slaying Great Wall are even more brutal than those at the southern wall, with even elders from the holy sect needing to personally oversee the defense. Of course, these matters are not yet Chun Sansi's concern. He opened the stone gate of his cave mansion, soared through the sky, and after leaving Dragon Elephant City, ventured into the mortal realm. Estimating another 3 or 4 times, and if no demon cultivators can be found, then there would be no need to waste more time. Someone's following me again. After flying over 50 miles, Chun Sansi sensed someone tracking him from behind. It was most likely Chao Ji. Speaking of which, with Chao Ji being in the late-stage foundation establishment, it's unclear what gives him the confidence to eye Chun Sansi covetously. But Chun Sansi wasn't careless, knowing that with Chao Ji leveraging on the big tree that is Chao Xie, he either had treasures for protection or backup. Thus, he deliberately made a loud commotion with his sword flight, heading towards the gathering of disciples from the Qingshu sect nearby. No matter what, given his connections with his master's wife and the Qingshu sect's supreme elder, the other party wouldn't dare make a move openly. Brother Lu. Chun Sansi recognized a familiar figure not far away. Lu Zhiyong stood suspended in the air, gazing intently at the village below, his expression heavy with a hint of unease. Upon seeing him, Chun Sansi seemed to have found a reliance and approached actively. "Junior brother Lu, you came at the right time. There's something wrong with this village." "Another dead village?" After receiving a confirmed reply, Chun Sansi lowered his body into the village. It was dusk, and the blood-red twilight filtered through the sparse treetops, scattering mottled light throughout the village. Under the shadow of the old locust tree at the village entrance, a few dilapidated stone benches were faintly visible. Every household's doors and windows were tightly shut, All appeared pitch black from the outside with no signs of human activity, only the desolate and bleak sounds of the autumn wind. Creak! He pushed open a wooden door and saw several hanging corpses. A family of 5 all hanging in the shadows. Lu Jiong kicked open several room doors in succession, all revealing similar situations. The people of the entire village were dead, and without exception, all died by suicide. Such situations have happened more than once. It must be the demons' doing. Lu Jiong cursed. What the hell are these beasts up to? At the scene, they didn't find any traces of blood sacrifices, and some of the deceased even possessed spirit roots but weren't taken away. It seems, Chan Sansi softly said, 2 years ago, the demon cultivators who infiltrated at great cost and casualties didn't do it just for blood sacrifices or cultivating demon techniques. There's some other scheme at play. More than 2 years ago, I remember a similar remote village where a woman killed her own child and then took her own life. Looking at it now, I'm afraid it wasn't just a coincidence. He previously suspected that these villagers were bewitched by illusions from the demon sect or perhaps some form of control. But every time they discovered a dead village, there were no traces of spells. It's really hard to believe that so many people would willingly end their lives this way. These mortals are truly wretched, Lu Jiong said with great incomprehension. Living well isn't good enough. They have to follow the demon sect's orders and seek death. Junior brother Lu, let's go back quickly. Let's go. After circling the village twice more, Chan Sansi simply couldn't find any useful clues, so he had to leave. The hidden demon cultivators in the mortal realm had already been mostly cleared out. The remaining few slipped through the net are as hard to find as needles in the ocean, so they planned to return to Dragon Elephant City to report the recent dead village incidents. As they retraced their steps, they saw large numbers of cultivators flying westward in groups, all with tense expressions. Brother Su, Lu Jiong stopped one person to ask about the situation. It's demon cultivators, Su Yang said sternly. Last night at Star Peak Mountain, a large number of demon cultivators suddenly attacked the mountain. We've suffered heavy losses, and now they are forcibly mobilizing sect disciples and loose cultivators in the city to participate in the battle. Having said that, he hurriedly caught up with the group, disappearing into the bustling crowd. Just as Chan Sansi and his companion entered the city gate, they were met by Elder Xue Jingfeng of the Qingshu sect's flowing cloud peak. He hovered above the city gate and spoke, his voice resonating for dozens of miles around. The remaining Foundation establishment disciples of the Qingshu sect proceed to the City Lord Mansion for a meeting. The Elder is calling us, Lu Jiong called out. The two immediately changed direction. City Lord Mansion. Master Feng Ji, Xue Jingfeng, and a middle-aged woman gathered here. In the center of the hall was a massive sand table, with a map more than a zhang wide on the side. The Foundation establishment disciples from Guiyuan sect, Qingshu sect, loose cultivators, and the demon suppression department lined up outside, awaiting orders. Master Feng Ji nodded to the young man beside him. Chao Ji walked to the sand table and began to speak. Fellow Taoists, I will briefly inform you of the current situation on the front line. Last night at midnight, the demon sect of Chaotic Wilderness Yongzhou suddenly allied with the ancient demon clan and gathered a large number of cultivators to fiercely attack Star Peak Mountain. Senior Wei Qi from the Demon Suppression Department is leading fellow Taoists in an all-out resistance. The demon army consists of 3 sects, 7 Killings sect, Corpse Refining sect, and Taotai sect, along with the ancient demon clan, a total of more than 30,000 people, including 4 Golden Core cultivators. On our side, the Guiyuan, Qingshu, and Demon Suppression Department, plus loose cultivators, amount to over 20,000 cultivators in total, including 3 Golden Core seniors. The sand table and map in front of you detail the distribution of cultivators on both sides. Considering the current situation, it's clear that the upcoming situation will be very severe, which is why the 2 elders have gathered everyone here. Firstly, to assign tasks to everyone, and secondly, to hear your opinions. The task content is simple but dangerous. Each selected Foundation Establishment cultivator will be responsible for commanding 1,000 Qi refining cultivators to take turns participating in the battle at Star Peak Mountain, akin to 1,000 captains in a mortal army. But Chun Sansi was not among them, seemingly arranged elsewhere. All right, let's discuss the strategy next. Chaoji looked around at everyone, then slowly said, "You may not know, but I was once a mortal prince in a barren land and have fought quite a few battles, so I deeply understand the importance of strategy. Especially in the cultivation world, for thousands of years, everyone has been accustomed to relying on personal realm to overwhelm opponents, often neglecting tactical strategy. At this time, if someone can come forward with a strategy, it might have an unexpected effect. So please speak freely, regardless of who makes a contribution. There will be a large amount of copper coin as a reward." Upon hearing this, many cultivators looked at each other, then started discussing animatedly. Seeing that no one stood up for a long time, Chao Ji spoke again. "This Taoist Lu of the Qingshu sect, you are skilled in military tactics and have fought many battles. Surely you have a good method, why not share it with us?" Immediately, many eyes were on Chun Sansi. This Chao Ji, up to his tricks again. He replied calmly, "Chao Daoist's words leave me a bit puzzled. I used to fish at Qian Island Lake. You can ask me about fishing, but why ask me about military tactics?" Even if Chun Sansi truly had a strategy to win that posed a risk of exposure, he wouldn't openly offer it. Considering the current situation, there was no extraordinary strategy, only holding fast. "Oh, is that so?" Chao Ji squinted, smiling insincerely. "Taoist Lu truly resembles a sworn brother of mine from before, hence the frequent mix-up, my apologies." Chun Sansi showed no excessive reaction, merely a perplexed expression. "Elders, I have a suggestion." Xue Xianrong stepped forward, pointing with a folding fan at a peak on the sand table. "The imperative is to find a way to retake Little Witch Mountain, then station heavy forces there. This would form a pincer with Star Peak Mountain and Dragon Elephant City, holding out until the heavenly killing true monarch can spare forces to support us. Little Witch Mountain is a spirit stone mine at the edge of Si Shui Dao. Due to its proximity to the border, it was occupied by demon cultivators more than 2 years ago." Master Fengji stroked his white beard that hung down to his chest. "This young one is quite in line with my thoughts. I wonder who this disciple from Qingshu sect might be. He will surely achieve great things in the future." "Your words flatter my son, Taoist Fengji." Xue Jingfeng knew the other party was deliberately flattering. Nowadays, Qingshu sect had a nascent soul, and at the height of its power, the status of the entire sect had risen with it. However, Xue Jingfeng soberly realized the problem. Little Witch Mountain is too far from Dragon Elephant City. If we were to go personally, it's very likely that if something happens at Star Peak Mountain, we might not be able to return in time, which could lead to greater errors. This matter should be discussed later. Master Fengji stroked his beard and pondered. At this moment, the sound transmission talisman in his arms began to flicker with spirit light, and he abruptly stood up. "Not good. It's starting at Star Peak Mountain again. Taoist Yang is calling us both to go for reinforcement. Chao Ji, take care of things here." After giving a brief instruction, the 2 Golden Core elders turned into lights of escape and disappeared in an instant. Since the 2 elders have given their instructions, I will now begin assigning more detailed tasks to each Taoist present. It was well known that Chao Ji was a descendant of the heavenly killing true monarch, so naturally no one objected. "Lu Shangji, Lu Jiong." He continued, 5 days later, the 2 of you will lead 10 disciples to the area around Mingquan Lake to attempt to rescue fellow Taoists who were previously captured. If successful, each of you will receive a reward of 400 copper coins. Receiving 400 copper coins at once. Upon hearing this number, all cultivators present couldn't help but be shocked. How many of them have been struggling here for years without saving up so much? Yet, considering it again, Mingquan Lake is outside Star Peak Mountain and under the control of the demon sect. Going there to rescue people is practically a death sentence. Rest assured, you won't be put in too much difficulty. Chao Ji added. Even if you fail, as long as you determine the location and situation of the captured Taoists, you'll still earn 100 coins, and all rewards for slaying demon cultivators along the way will be tripled. With this said, the task became much more reasonable. Taoist Lu? Chao Ji asked. So, any issues? Taoist Chao. Chun Sansi, knowing he couldn't refuse, still tried. Lu knows nothing about the situation outside Star Peak Mountain. Leading a team might be unsuitable. This? Chao Ji raised an eyebrow and looked at the others. Is there another Taoist willing to take this task? The crowd remained silent. 100 copper coins was quite a bit, but the risk was immense, and unless absolutely necessary, no one wanted to go. I say, fellow Taoist Lu. Someone sternly said, we cultivators practice for spiritual energy from nature. At critical moments, we should stand up and be counted, not cower in fear. Taoist Lu, the holy order is as solid as a mountain. Female cultivator Song Jing said, even senior brother Shui in Dragon Elephant City can't go against this order. Since that's the case, Chun Sansi nodded. I am willing to obey. In the cultivation world, wars are not without order, and the penalties for disobeying orders are no less severe than those for disobeying military orders in the mortal world. Moreover, the supervisory force sent by the Heavenly Water Saint sect inside and outside the city will kill any deserters on the spot, regardless of their status. Even if, in the worst-case scenario, Chun Sansi flees, the matter of creation Jadu would be a lost cause, and even Lu Xingji's identity might be invalidated, which could potentially implicate his master and others. Fortunately, he knew what the other party wanted to do and could prepare ahead of time, so now he could only respond calmly. Chun Sansi was habitually cautious and would avoid danger, but when confronted with unavoidable situations, he was never afraid. In fact, if he didn't currently bear so many responsibilities, he wouldn't mind risking his life. This was an opportunity to see what cards Chao had up his sleeve, and who knows, Chun Sansi might be able to eliminate him, which could be a good thing. Soon, everyone's tasks were assigned, and the cultivators gradually left the scene. Lu Jiong couldn't help but curse. I've never offended that Chao fellow. Why was such a task given to me? It's just my rotten luck. Blessings and misfortunes don't come singly, and what must come can't be avoided. Chun Sansi consoled him, then flew back to the mountain where he lived. He agreed to go, true enough, but he naturally needed to make preparations beforehand. Setting off in 5 days, it's impossible to significantly improve one's realm in such a short time. The strategy with the highest cost-effectiveness is certainly to seek out survival methods. With Qiansun, talismans, and the wind-splitting seal, Chun Sansi's speed for controlling the sky far exceeded that of a foundation establishment cultivator, though still lacking compared to a golden core cultivator. Skill. Sky control, proficient. Progress. 879/1000. Sky control skill isn't solely improved by sword flight, but by practicing any flying-type spell. Over the years, Chun Sansi had practiced various spells, but he was still a step away from a small achievement in sky control. The sky control techniques that could be easily gathered in the market only provided limited proficiency improvement, certainly not enough to level up in 5 days. But Chun Sansi knew someone who surely understood Lord Taishan. This renowned sword immortal, who was also once an immortal and martial dual cultivator, might have command of skills that only Chao Xie could rival. Just seeking his help would certainly yield results, although it might also cost him dearly. He prepared spiritual wine and beast meat, and after some twists and turns, managed to find Lord Taishan dead drunk in a brothel. Just in time, Mu Chutai slurred, Come, come, perform a set of swordsmanship for your master to cheer him up. Chun Sansi was long used to this. In past 2 years in Dragon Elephant City, every time they met, the other party requested him to demonstrate a set of swordsmanship using extreme divine power in tandem with dragon scripture. Though previously passed down word by word, bestowing deeper enlightenment, he wondered if there was a deeper purpose in this request. Having completed the set of swordsmanship, Chun Sansi briefly recounted his upcoming mission west of Star Peak Mountain and expressed his desire to learn a life-saving spell. What are you talking about? Upon hearing about the critical situation at Star Peak Mountain, Lord Taishan sobered up significantly, knocked his head, and cursed. What bad luck! Can't get any peace even here. Even he, having chosen to participate in the battle, couldn't flee halfway. Otherwise, the supervisory team would have the authority to kill him on the spot. Senior Mu. Chun Sansi voiced his doubt. Why do the major sects show such respect and fear towards the holy sect, complying with their every command? On Sky-Water Continent, the holy sect not only wielded power over various resources, including spirit vein allocation, during the war, but also commanded sect disciples to march to their deaths. Such enormous power had significantly affected other sects' ascension paths to immortality. Why were they still willing to comply? Is it purely because the holy sect has numerous high-realm cultivators with formidable battle prowess? You young ones just don't understand. Lord Taishan, guessing his intentions, tossed a crystal grape into his mouth and said, The old geezers of the holy sect have influence greater than imperial edicts in the mortal world, not because of their ability, but because they possess the sole ascension platform for righteous cultivators. Ascension platform? Chun Sansi had only seen vague references in texts. A long time ago, mortal world cultivators were unable to ascend due to various reasons and had to rely on the ascension platform to enter the upper realm and pursue the true path to Yuhua and immortality. Mu Chu Tai said, Does this make sense to you? Understood. Chun Sansi nodded. Controlling the ascension platform equates to firmly holding the path for the ascension of all cultivators, undoubtedly the most critical and valuable resource. As long as the holy sect refuses, no matter how talented or speedy one is in cultivation, they will ultimately be trapped in the mortal world. Is it truly the great power of granting life and death? But if it's completely like this, wouldn't it oppress each sect too harshly? Will the holy sect gather all the superior resources into their own hands, causing other inheritances to become increasingly destitute? What do you think the other two heavenly sects are for, if not to balance the Kungsu Saint sect? Lord Taishan paused. Of course, the heavenly sects can balance the holy sect not through combat power, but through the upper realm. Upper realm? Chun Sansi asked, Senior Mu, do you mean the world with more abundant spiritual energy after the legendary divinity transformation? Do the people from the upper realm still maintain contact with the lower realm? It is said that to maintain the human race's Tao fortune, the true immortals of the upper realm have set a series of rules for cultivators in the lower realm. Mu Chutai burped. For example, among the 36 immortal sects, one must not use strength to bully the weak, deliberately suppress lower sects, nor can they slaughter any contemporary genius in any sect without reason. But this is all nonsense. If they are determined to kill someone, the upper realm is far away from heaven and the emperor is far, they might not really control the people and affairs below. Chun Sansi asked again, Has there ever been an instance of an immortal descending to the lower realm? Has Senior Mu ever seen it? The legend of immortals is mysterious beyond profound. Nascent soul cultivators and foundation establishment cultivators are as different as clouds and mud. Then what kind of sky-piercing skills would a true immortal have? Ah! Hearing this, Lord Taishan exhaled a heavy wine-scented breath. Those are all matters of the past. Not talking about this. Aren't you interested in learning survival skills? He suddenly seemed like a different person, raising his eyebrows and said, Let me tell you, I have a fast-learning escape skill here. As long as you can learn it, even golden core cultivators might not be able to catch up with you. However, at this point, Lord Taishan embraced his wine gourd and was unwilling to continue. Chun Sansi understood the hint. If Senior needs any help from me, feel free to say it. Lord Taishan opened one eye and boastfully voiced his demands. Things like spirit stones are still fine. It was just that one request left Chun Sansi somewhat puzzled. The other party said he wanted a 1,000-year-old light bamboo leaf. Such a thing as light bamboo leaf is mostly aimed at chi refining cultivators, and usually it's only necessary to have a vintage of 50 to 100 years. Even a millennium-old light bamboo leaf's purpose is merely to enhance a chi refining cultivator's cultivation speed. Using the Emperor's breath soil to cultivate such a thing is simply a waste. Can you find it for me? Lord Taishan said impatiently. Do it if you can, if not, get out. This disciple can ask Elder Yuling for help. Chun Sansi needed another favor, so he could only agree. Mu Chutai was finally satisfied, putting away the wine gourd. He propped himself up against the wall and stood up, clearing his throat. Don't worry, kid. As your teacher, I won't let you suffer losses. The sky control technique I am going to teach you was transformed by me from a demon path magic, which I call the blood-burning technique. As the name implies, it enhances sky control speed by burning essence blood. I've once escaped 100 Bailey in an instant. Whether it's for survival or chasing an enemy, it's an excellent method. Next, I will recite the mantra you listen and remember. The heart follows chi, dantian like a furnace. Chun Sansi sat upright, imitating the other's hand gestures while circulating mana within his body according to the mantra. Just as he was fully immersed in it, Lord Taishan suddenly said coldly, "What's the next sentence?" Chun Sansi hesitated, not understanding what he meant. Mu Chutai raised his voice. "I'm asking you, what's the next sentence?" Chun Sansi replied, "Junior doesn't know." "Don't know?" Lord Taishan paced around Gue Chi's disciple with hands behind his back, squinted his eyes, and scolded. "If you don't know, can't you guess? If you can't guess, can't you make it up?" "Make it up," Chun Sansi said softly. "Senior wants me to guess the rest of this blood-burning technique. Like before when I cultivated the dragon scripture? Nonsense, what else?" Lord Taishan made a gesture as if to hit him. "Stop dilly-dallying here. There are several fairies waiting for me upstairs. Hurry up and do as I say." Chun Sansi held his breath, his mind recalling all the sky control techniques he had come in contact with since he began cultivation, including various martial arts qigong, summarized and compiled their patterns, and then linked them with the mantra Lord Taishan said, trying to create the next line himself. "Nonsense." Mu Chutai snorted derisively. "The second sentence is, all phenomena first open, blood refining as Tao. Then I ask you, what's the third sentence?" Chun Sansi seriously contemplated again. "Only got 2 words right out of 8. Mu Chutai rejected again. "The third line of the mantra is, return to roots, reclaim life, flames return to origin. Come on." Fourth sentence. "Not right." This time, only got 1 word right. And so it repeated. Lord Taishan deliberately had Chun Sansi guess himself until he imparted the last line of the cultivation technique. Blood-burning technique fully reveals true Yuan. Even this you couldn't guess. I see you're just like a piece of wood. No better than those old useless ones. No matter how he scolded or hit, Chun Sansi felt no displeasure. Because Lord Taishan's method, truly effective. Skill. Reading, great success. Progress, 401/2000. After achieving great success in reading, the progress had been very slow. Chun Sansi thought he needed to peruse a great deal of esoteric ancient texts, but later discovered that every time he attempted to deduce cultivation techniques, the proficiency would actually increase faster. So-called reading, after reaching a certain level, is no longer limited to literal meaning. "What are you standing there for, kid? Did you hear what I said?" Lord Taishan impatiently cursed. "If you don't make any progress next time, don't bother coming to see me with a thick face. Thank you for your guidance, Elder." Chun Sansi expressed his heartfelt gratitude. No matter how this person behaves now, if he is willing to teach others sincerely, he is undoubtedly a top-notch mentor. "Get out, out, out. Spare me this nonsense." Lord Taishan waved his hand to dismiss him, adding, "By the way, don't forget what you promised me. And the Ma Lutsao, send it to me as soon as possible. Rest assured, Elder, I will not go back on my word." Chun Sansi clasped his fists in farewell. Watching him leave, Mu Chutai stared blankly while holding a wine gourd, and after a moment, took a harsh gulp. Mingquan Lake. Outside Dragon Elephant City, in a mortal village. Tavern. A map of chaotic wilderness Yongzhou unfolded before Chun Sansi, and by his side were Dongfang Jingxing and Deng Wucheng. This Mingquan Lake area is indeed demon cultivator territory. Those captured Taoists, 8 or 9 out of 10, are likely imprisoned in the nearby city. The demon cultivator city also has a city protection array. Getting in is easy, but if you cause any disturbance and then try to escape, it becomes difficult. Your Majesty, Deng Wuchang, chewing on dogtail grass, suggested, "Why not dispatch more personnel over there?" No. Chun Sansi rejected the proposal. Being in their territory, the more people just means more trouble. This matter doesn't require you too. I'll find a way myself. If all else fails, just abandon the rescue and aim to earn 100 copper coins. The main concern is someone lurking to shoot cold arrows from the shadows. Your Majesty, there's something else that hasn't been reported. Dongfang Jingxing said, 2 days ago, people from the demon-slaying sect sent word. A Taoist named Shangguan Siheng wishes to see your Majesty, claiming to have important matters to discuss. After the affairs in Beiyangdao concluded, Chun Sansi and Shangguan parted. But over the years, they occasionally exchanged letters for discretion. The other party is unaware of his current identity as Lu Shangji, but has heard of him in Sishuedao. They came here too? Chun Sansi nodded. It's heard that there are demon-slaying sect individuals at the demon-slaying Great Wall. These folks truly are everywhere. He thought for a moment and said, "We'll deal with their matter after I return from Mingquan Lake." As you command. Chun Sansi returned to Dragon Elephant City, preparing for the final arrangements. In the clouds, he formed hand seals, practicing once more the blood-burning technique learned from Lord Taishan. With the appearance of a crimson 8-trigram Dharma seal on his chest, the essence blood within Chun Sansi began to deplete, burning in his dantian and transforming into special mana, augmenting the flying sword under his feet, doubling his escape speed. Even though continuous burning of essence blood causes his state to gradually weaken, he endures by taking elixir pills until mastering the technique thoroughly. Skill: Sky Control, Small Achievement. Progress: 0/2000. Utility: Triple Blood Burning. Triple Blood Burning. Upon enlightenment while practicing Sky Control technique, successfully fused Wind-Splitting Seal with Blood Burning technique, Blood Burning thrice, Chasing Stars and Stepping on the Moon. Chasing Stars and Stepping on the Moon. Wind-Splitting Seal doubles the burning of mana, while Triple Blood Burning naturally doubles the burning of essence blood. Chun Sansi tested it on the spot. In an instant, he felt as if a demon cultivator was grabbing his throat and draining his blood. Yet simultaneously, Chun Sansi's speed soared, with mountains and rivers beneath him blurring completely, and the only sound left in his ears was the sharp whistling of the gale, as he almost transformed into a golden light of escape. The speed. Even a golden core early-stage cultivator absolutely cannot catch up. Moreover, currently, there are no nascent soul cultivators participating in Dragon Elephant City, meaning that as long as he avoids encirclement, Chun Sansi is very likely to escape unharmed. The only flaw of this triple blood burning is its massive energy consumption. In just this short while, he felt that half of the essence blood inside him had been drained. Thus, he quickly returned to normal speed, while continuously stuffing several essence-nurturing elixir pills into his mouth. If he could kill the enemies, why would he need to cultivate this escape magic skill? Thinking of this, Chun Sansi couldn't help but feel a bit depressed. Currently, the situation on Sushuadao is getting increasingly chaotic. Even with the assistance of the Emperor's breath soil, his cultivation speed is still somewhat slow. If necessary, he might have to resort to some unconventional ancient pill recipes obtained in the 9 Nether Forbidden Land to speed things up. Returning to the vicinity of Dragon Elephant City, Chun Sansi saw batches of cultivators pouring towards the direction of Star Peak Mountain. It is said that last night, 2 Golden Core cultivators teamed up to head to Little Witch Mountain, attempting to retake the mine and form a pincer movement with Dragon Elephant City, but they failed, nearly causing Star Peak Mountain to fall. Therefore, in the situation where Golden Core cultivators cannot go in person, reclaiming Little Witch Mountain has become a bounty task, handed over to the disciples below to try. The reward is very generous, a full 1,000 copper coins, and if you can kill the resident cultivators inside, the reward can be even higher. Of course, the corresponding risk is also extremely high. So far, Chun Sansi is probably not capable of handling it. Returning to the dojo, he found that the number of copper coins of the leader on the Heavenly Dao ranking, loose cultivator Shin Tui, had already reached over 1,000. Even with the help of his senior sister, Chun Sansi only had a total of 600, ranking 12th. Even Xue Xianrong and others' rankings have reached 9th over 800 coins, with an increasing trend still very strong. If this continues, Chun Sansi might truly miss out on the Creation Jade Dew, wasting a large amount of time and energy here. It seems he really ought to work hard to try to rescue those collaborators and get the 400 copper coin reward. Thinking like this, Chun Sansi returned to the mountain where his cave mansion was, intending to bid farewell to his second senior sister, only to see her disappearing in the distance. In the direction she was heading, was she going to Star Peak Mountain? Wait. Chun Sansi frowned as he noticed several figures shadowing behind the blind woman in the distance. It was Xue Xianrong's group. Having received much help from his senior sister recently, he naturally couldn't sit by and do nothing, so he immediately followed them. Junior brother Lu? Lu Jiong appeared ahead. You're in such a hurry? Where are you planning to go? I was just about to gather everyone to discuss what we should do after we reach Mingquan Lake. Brother Lu can come with me, Chun Sansi said as he pursued ahead. Under the night sky, beneath the bright moon, a woman dressed in black stepped on Ice Soul, flying towards Guanghan Immortal Palace. Beneath her, several figures blended into the darkness, closely following in pursuit. 3 years. It's been nearly 3 years. Zhang Wuya gritted his teeth and said, "That damned blind woman never gave us any opportunity. But today, we finally caught her alone." Senior brother Xue. Song Jing reminded, "This is a great opportunity. We are not far from Star Peak Mountain. As long as we make that female devil reveal her true self, the 3 Golden Core elders will soon notice, and then we'll see her try to argue her way out. Rest assured," Xue Xianrong said in a deep voice. "I have already placed the moving mountain ape, my life-bound spirit beast cultivated, secretly for years, on the necessary path ahead. Once Jiangxia is blocked, we will strike immediately." Good. Boom. Just as they expected, a thunderous noise erupted from the front. Beneath the woman traveling through the thundercloud, a white-haired giant ape, standing at 4 zhang tall, suddenly soared into the sky, its fists, resembling mountain peaks, fiercely slammed towards her slender frame. Clang! Ice Soul swung. The two collided. Under the ambush of such a power-type giant ape, the blind woman was knocked back hundreds of steps before stabilizing her form again. Simultaneously, Xue Xianrong and others surged forward, surrounding her completely. Without wasting a word, he took out a wooden box from his bosom, muttering incantations. As long as the shrine of the 5-way deity is summoned, it can awaken the devil lurking in her heart, exposing her bloodthirsty nature. Wait! Xue Xianrong had just taken out the box when he sensed someone approaching from behind. Damn it! Zhang Wuya cursed. It's that Lu Shangji. What are they doing here? Senior brother Xue. With a helpful demeanor, Chun Sansi led Lu Jiong and others over. Do you need our help? Where did this demon beast come from? Without waiting for a reply, Lu Jiong had already noticed the massive moving mountain ape attacking their fellow disciple sister and charged forward with his flying sword. Xue Xianrong saw this group of unexpected visitors and knew his plan had already been thwarted, with the risk of exposure. He had no choice but to echo, "Yes, we also discovered a demon beast here, so we rushed back to check the situation. Then what are we waiting for? Let's rush in together, slay this demon beast, and then split the copper coins." Chun Sansi summoned the Shangqing sword and joined the lineup to besiege the moving mountain ape. Roar! Even if the moving mountain ape had great chi power, it couldn't withstand the assault of more than 10 people. Its tough skin was quickly cut by blades, its flesh and bones constantly torn, as blood sprayed out like a gushing spring, emitting a tragic wailing sound. Xue Xianrong closed his eyes, unable to bear watching. This, Zhang Wuya and the others looked on with deep pain. The moving mountain ape was a very rare spiritual beast, not only strong in combat but also exceptionally loyal to its master. The most crucial point was, this spiritual beast had the potential to form a core. Xue Xinrong had secretly raised it in the back mountain as a last resort lifeline, not knowing how much time and resources it had cost. It had finally reached the second-tier peak, never expecting it to die in such a humiliating way. You wretched beast, meet your end. The hot-blooded Lu Jiong, with his hands performing incantations, unleashed a brilliant show of sword moves. The Shangqing sword before him shone with golden light, layers of sword qi tearing through the sky, piercing the huge body of the moving mountain ape. He then leapt into the air, chanting incantations, and with all his strength, delivered a dazzling sword move, severing the demon beast's entire head. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening roar, the giant creature crashed to the ground. Lu Jiong stood on the corpse's back, slowly pulling out the Shangqing sword, feeling a surge of war intent as he basked in his own glory. Xue Xianrong pressed his eyes shut forcefully. Is senior sister okay? Chun Sansi communicated telepathically. What exactly is that evil god meant for? He had only heard the other side say that the blind woman had fallen into evil, and the evil god could awaken demonic barriers, but he didn't know any of the specifics. For example, had Jiang Xie truly fallen into evil? If not, what was the situation Xue Xianrong claimed to have seen with his own eyes? Understanding these would be necessary to find a way to solve the problem at its root. The blind woman didn't respond, only swept through the air over everyone's heads with a biting chill, disappearing towards the direction of Star Peak Mountain. The various cultivators were somewhat displeased. They had come over to help, but the woman in black left without even a word of thanks. Forget it. Forget it. Lu Jiong said, Our sister Jiang usually keeps to herself. Don't take it to heart. Senior brother Xue. He came to the elder's son's front, seeking to earn credit. Did I come in timely fashion? Was there progress in the recent Shangqing sword technique? If there was, could senior brother Xue put in a good word for me with our master? Hee. Xue Xinrong forced a smile. Certainly. This second-tier peak demon beast, even if split, each of us would get a good number of copper coins. Chun Sansi said, Brother Lu, let's take it back and exchange it first. All right. The group lifted the demon beast's corpse and took to the air. Only after they had gone far did Xue Xinrong finally contain his anger. Outrageous. Senior brother. Song Jing said, That Lu Shangji deliberately led people over here. I've said it before. Zhang Wuya snorted coldly. That guy doesn't know how to appreciate favors and should have been taught a lesson long ago. This person knows what we're up to. Xue Xinrong's gaze was dark. It indicates that he knows the inside story and, 9 out of 10, is in cahoots with that Jiang. I originally didn't want to involve others for the sake of fellowship, but if he insists on harboring demon cultivators, then he can't blame me. Dragon Elephant City. Chun Sansi and the others returned to the dojo and exchanged the moving mountain ape for copper coins to split evenly. He noticed that the bulletin board had a few more tasks. Among them was, investigate the mortal dead village. It seemed that even those above didn't have a clue about the happening at the dead village. This wasn't a solution. Just like back in Beiyang, Chun Sansi and the others knew that the 7 Killing sect was spreading a demon technique, but they were powerless, nearly causing a huge disaster in the end. Right? He suddenly thought of the demon-slaying sect's extensive information network. Shangguan Siheng and those people were recently in Sishui Dao. Maybe they might know something. However, this would have to wait until they lived through Mingquan Lake. After splitting the copper coins, Chun Sansi and Lu Jiong, along with others, found a place and briefly discussed how to proceed with the task. 2 days passed in a flash. Leading Tenchi refining disciples, they left Dragon Elephant City and headed straight for the Tianshui border. At the edge of Star Peak Mountain, there was a pass, tightly adjacent to the banks of the Tongtian River, marking the boundary between 2 continents. Outside the pass lay the vast wilderness filled with demon clan camps. Standing on the city wall, Chun Sansi gazed at the flickering bonfires in the darkness and quickly identified a suitable gap to infiltrate. They didn't leave the city. Instead, they used the underground tunnels within the city to enter the surging river, employing water avoidance spells to cross the several hundred zhang-wide Tongtian River, then continued forward using the earth tunneling technique.